What's up, man?
What's up?
Hell yeah. I like your flag in the background there. It's cool.
Oh yeah, it's actually my team's flag.
Hell yeah, it looks good. Yeah, I saw in your on your Discord thing, and I think the note you wrote when you signed up on our website
hmm
that you had recently started a milsim team.
Yep. Nope.
Hell yeah, that's good, man. Well, dude, we got a lot to talk about because I think your app is going to be a big hit in the airsoft community.
I would say so. It's gotten a lot of traction lately. Um,
Yeah,
Quite a bit on that includes the fact that SS Airsoft has actually contacted me now about it. Um,
yeah,
like I think that's amazing because they're one of the biggest airsoft stores in pretty much the entire East Coast.
right.
So that's pretty big deal, and we've been talking over email for the last few days. So
Good, good, good.
pretty exciting.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, I mean, I think it came up in my feed, actually, one of your posts,
Yeah,
um, about it. I think so. And it was, and I think it was like a reel that you made, like
yeah,
showing it off. And I clicked on it, went to your, page and then, went to your website, I think. Anyway,
right.
when I found it, I was like, dude, this is a good idea. Um, and then I went and donated like the first
Yeah,
time I saw it. I was like, oh yeah, this is gonna be a hit because a lot of airsofters are being they're getting
yeah.
their posts, canceled or removed or whatever on Instagram lately.
Oh yeah. I got hit with it just for wearing my plate carrier. I'm like, I
Right.
don't even. My gun's not even in the picture. I
It's so weird.
was like,
It's so
why?
weird.
And they only
Yeah.
hit. The weird part is they hit one of my posts. I had three different pictures of me wearing a plate carrier in it, and they hit the very last one on it. And I think it's just because the mags were visible. But I'm like, I'm going through all the pictures on that same post. I'm like, I can still see the mags in this one. Why didn't you hit that one?
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. Uh the any of it, to be honest. Like all the different posts that are being canceled on any platform. There's no consistency with it.
Mm-mm. And
Yeah.
it's just strange because they just start hitting everybody. From what I could see in the date log for the one they hit for me, it was a January 7th one.
Yeah.
But I'm looking at everybody else's posts and I'm seeing like it seems to be like they're more recent stuff. I'm like,
Hmm.
so was it just like a this year we're just gonna start shadow banning anybody that's got a
Yeah.
gun or something in their picture? And I'm like,
I,
enforce your rules at the start. You can't enforce them, months or years later.
yeah. When YouTube first changed their terms of service to include, well, when they first started cracking down more on guns in general, this is a couple years ago. I think we were about I don't know, a year and a half into our channel, and they made a big change in their terms of service. Our channel, most of our videos got demonetized overnight,
Right.
and which happened to a lot of channels or whatever. And then um, there was no consistency. We went back, and it was we had mostly unboxings,
Mm,
and those are the ones that were getting canceled or demonetized. And so I'm looking at, but not all of them. So
right.
they would be, and then when I would do the review, request a review, I'd request a review on all of them, and some of them got okayed, and some of them didn't. There's no,
Right.
and they were exactly the same. We did the same. We're opening a box. Here's what it is. Blah blah blah. Like All the wording was the same. We didn't really change anything. It was very confusing uh,
Right.
when it started. So it still is, you know. And that's where I'm sure that's why you started thinking about creating something where
Yep.
this wouldn't happen. So when
Yep.
did you have? So I guess give a quick background on um, what what we're talking about, and then I want to find out how you got started into airsoft and your background. First off, I saw in your Discord thing you're a MSU student, right?
I will be starting this fall.
Okay, so you're in Michigan.
Yep.
So you're going to be going to Michigan State.
Yep.
So you'll be a Michigan State fan.
Unfortunately, yeah.
Are
Trust me,
you from? Are
I
you
come
from
from a
Michigan?
Michigan family. Yeah, actually, I'm not.
Oh,
I was born in Alaska, actually.
oh shit. Okay.
Um, I consider that home still, even though I've been away from it for so long.
Yeah.
Um, Came from pretty much right there off of J Bear, the Air Force Base right outside of Anchorage.
Oh, okay.
Um, Joint Base Elmendorf. That's what it is. Elmendorf Richardson. Um,
I
so
actually
my dad,
landed there once.
yeah.
Before we stopped there, before we went to, we flew from there to Okinawa, Japan.
Oh, that's nice.
That was the stopping point. I was like, why are we going to Alaska? I didn't know shit, you know.
See, I've always wanted to go out, probably Japan, Germany. I want to see those areas really bad.
Yeah.
And I was trying to get into the Air Force. Originally, I was going to go active duty. It ended up switching later on, and became National Guard for a little bit.
Yeah.
That's what I wanted. And when I tried to get in, it was just like they didn't want me to join. Like it was just
Mm.
slow. The whole thing, the whole process was slow. It took me 6 months just to get to MEPS alone,
Oh my
and
God.
then I got turned around at MEPS for
Wow.
having ADD. And I'm like, come on, I've been off the pills for 6 years. It should be good to
Holy
go.
cow. Yeah, they've
um,
gotten way more strict, man. When I went in,
oh,
they didn't give a fuck, bro. They're
right,
like,
yeah.
you can
Like
go in for whatever.
my dad was like, yeah, they'll get you through. I mean, ADD, yeah, you get stopped, you have to get a waiver. That's
Yeah.
not gonna take forever. But when you have a recruiter that's about to retire and he's super slow about every little thing,
Mm.
it's gonna take forever.
Right.
Um, because it took so long, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go to college again. Like I'm gonna go back to college for the second time.
Yeah.
Because I had already went previously to become a welder. Um,
Nice.
and then I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna go back in, and I applied at MSU. Ended up forgetting about the fact that I applied to MSU. And then November rolled around, and I got this email from them, and I was like, "Why is MSU emailing me?" And I look it up, and it's like, "Congratulations, you've been accepted." I'm like, "Oh yeah, I applied."
Oh shit. Holy cow.
I was like, "How did that happen?"
Right?
And it became an unreal moment. I was like, "All right, I'm going to college again, and I'm going into ROTC." So we went back. We went to the college to speak with ROTC, and it's got me pretty excited to go.
Good.
I'm gonna go. Unfortunately, for something that's gonna be kind of hard for me to get like any kind of scholarship, but I'm gonna try my best.
Mm.
Um, because Air Force is kind of looking for that cybersecurity field now, and I'm going in for communications.
Oh, okay.
I wanted to do cybersecurity, but it's gonna make my degree path take a lot longer than it needs to.
Hmm.
Um, so
Yeah, the one girl I talked with, Hannah,
yeah,
she actually does that cybersecurity stuff for the
yep,
Marine Corps. Yeah.
yeah. That's originally what I was gonna do in the National Guard. Actually,
Okay.
I was I think 1 point off from my ASVAB, so they were like, no. I was like,
Oh shit.
1 point.
Yeah,
it's
man.
it's 1 point. I missed like basically one question. Let me
Right?
in.
Yeah, that one question. God, I can't remember what kind of questions I had a hard time with on the ASVAB. I don't. It was because that wasn't it like split up with like math, English, and then
Yeah.
comp, and then mechanical aptitude.
Yep. Yep.
Okay.
I believe my lowest was anything revolving around math because I am terrible at math.
Yeah. I think mine
uh,
was the English thing or comp or whatever.
some of those English ones are pretty hard too because it's like you have to try to compare it to a word, and I'm like, I'm not great at that. I'm trying to, you know, I had to figure out how this word works in the sentence structure properly.
Hmm.
And of course, all the words are words that you may or may not have, known about. So you're like, what does that word even mean?
Right. Exactly. Yeah, I had a hard time with that. I was actually in school when I was growing up. I had to take like remedial reading classes
Mhm.
until I was in eighth grade, I think.
Oh yeah,
From like fourth grade to eighth grade, I was always behind with reading, and I always had a hard time with it. Math came easy, but yeah, anything with reading and writing, bro. Even now, I have a hard time like putting a sentence together for writing.
right,
It's very difficult for me. Takes me a lot long. My wife will sit down and she'll write a whole fucking page of just stuff. I'm like, how do you write so fast? Like, I don't. It doesn't make sense to me. Um, so when I do these videos and I put the descriptions and stuff, bro, it's a struggle. Okay.
yeah,
And I end up not writing that much about somebody because I'm like, actually, when I first started these podcasts, or not when I first started, but a few months ago, after we were done talking,
Mm,
I would reach out to the person and be like, "Hey, send me a picture for the thumbnail, and then or pick one from your Instagram or something, and then if you want, you can write your own kind of bio thing for the description."
right,
Because I was just like, I'm not good at it, you know. And I had a couple people do it, but I just got once I started doing these a lot more regular.
mm,
I would forget to ask the person or that kind of thing. So I'm like, oh, it's coming out tomorrow, so I need to just hurry up. I'll just do it, you know.
right.
So, but yeah, man. So going back to the Michigan thing, I'm an Ohio State fan. I grew up in Cleveland, Ohio,
Uh
and yeah, so
oh, I'm a
that's why
Michigan fan.
you're a Michigan fan.
Yeah,
Yeah. See, I was gonna say if you're because Michigan, a lot of people don't know this that aren't from there. Michigan and Ohio State are obviously
rivals. Yep.
rivals, and then but Michigan and Michigan State are rivals as well within
Yeah,
your own state. So
dude, we
if you say, hey, oh, you're a Michigan State fan, and somebody's a Michigan fan, they're like, hell no, what? You know?
right, and we have that issue in our family right now, actually, because our family is already divided.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
we have half state, half Michigan. So it's um, I'm going to state now. So my uncle's, telling my dad, he's like, your son's going to state. He's gonna wear green, and I'm like, no. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna show up to every Michigan game when they're playing state wearing blue. Who's gonna
Oh
know?
shit! Right? Who's gonna know? You could do the get a paint half your body green and half of it blue
Right. Yeah.
kind of deal.
Exactly. I'll be a person divided. All right.
No shit, dude. Hey, listen, let me I got to take a piss. And
Yeah.
I apologize, dude.
Oh, no,
I'll
that's
be right
fine.
back. Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Dude, my son came over last night. Who's on the our channel, one of them, Colton. Him and his
Mhm.
wife and their kids came over, and he brought liquor. He brought, what did he bring? Peach, some kind of peach whiskey and peanut butter whiskey.
Ooh, was
And
it screwball?
yeah, I don't know. Yeah, screwball, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
that stuff's good, man.
Hmm.
So he came over. We were hanging out, and he brought cigars. He brought firewood for the fire pit and stuff. He made this big fire. We were hanging out, drinking and smoking a cigar, and I'm paying for it this morning. Okay, so
Yeah, I'm paying for a stream that my buddy did last night. We were playing some Arma together, and I looked down at the time, and I'm like, "Oh my lord, it's already 4 in the morning."
Oh my God.
It's like we gotta stop.
Holy
I was
shit,
like,
right?
we did a 3. If you want to go over it, it's almost 4 hours long, but we did a 3.5 hour long straight stream. And I was
Holy
like,
shit.
we need to stop our streams because there was a point in there where we were basically doing our own little podcast for a second because I went to go get a drink and it turned into me just eating something. And I was like, we're just gonna start talking.
Exactly. That's a good thing about these, man. And that's why I wanted, like, that's kind of the environment I wanted to create here on these podcasts is it's not formatted. It's just a casual conversation, and wherever it goes, it goes. So it's to me, I listen to a lot of podcasts, a lot of different ones, and
Right.
I like I like a mix of them. I mean, I listen to some that are pretty formulated, or formatted, and but most of them they're just just bullshitting.
Right.
Yeah. Oh yeah, dude.
Yeah, I
So
listened to
Michigan State. So you're going to MSU um, in the fall, and then and you're studying communication. So what did you want to do with with communication?
so I'm actually thinking about getting into. It's actually my mom's career field. She teaches us in college. Um, Basically, it's going to be similar to journalism. She
Yeah.
teaches journalism, but I kind of want to branch off from that and kind of get into more of like public speaking because it's one of my biggest fears. I am not a big fan of public speaking, and I'm
Oh,
trying to
okay.
conquer that little by little.
Yeah.
So podcasts, it's a great way to start because you're already speaking.
Right.
Um, so I'm trying to break out that shell a little bit, get used to it a little more. More used to it I am, I think I could do a lot more going forward.
Right.
Um, you know, actually be that guy who can lead something out without me trying to hide internally.
Right.
So
Yeah, that's one
uh,
of the that's one of the most common fears. Public speaking or whatever, and
mhm.
getting up. Well, actually, public speaking. Getting up in front of a crowd and speaking
Oh yeah,
is a very common fear. It's way up there on the list as far as it's like in the top five of what people are afraid of in life.
yeah, yep,
It's crazy. Yep.
yep. That one's been one of those ones that always been there. It's not like my largest fear kind of thing, but it's always been right there. It's hanging over your head every time it pops up. So
Yeah.
somebody's
Yeah.
like, could you lead this for me? And I'm like, I can, but I don't know. It's like you might be better at it.
Yeah. It's whenever when we go to these events or whatever, you can tell some of the people that get up and have to say something or whatever, they're most of the time they're pretty familiar with it and they're pretty comfortable because of the environment and because they've done it so many times, whatever. But you can tell if anyone else, if anyone gets up and has to say something or whatever, and they're not really, they're kind of introverted and they're not used to it. It's you can just feel that, like, oh man, I feel bad for him. I just
Yeah,
want to tell him, like, bro, it's okay. We're not judging you. We won't, don't be embarrassed. It's cool.
you can tell too, because usually it's like they'll even for me, you start talking really fast or you stumble over everything.
Uh-huh.
I do it quite often.
Yeah, same here. Same here. Yeah, man. Well, so how did you get into airsoft in the first place? And then kind of go from that to where you're at now, starting your own team, and then creating this app. I definitely want to go over all, details on this app, man. It's looking really good. So
All right. So I guess where I started getting into airsoft was I think I was 12,
hmm
and we had just moved from Alaska. We were getting orders to a new base. I think we ended up in Missouri, from that place. So we had a long drive because we like to drive everywhere and stop and see all the sites along the way.
Yeah.
You know, the military's paying for it.
Yeah.
um, so we would see a lot of stops along the way, and you know, when you're just sitting in a car as a kid, what else are you gonna do? And you know, when you got a screen in front of you now, you can
Hmm.
watch YouTube, and that's what I did. I was watching a lot of YouTube along the way, and ended up watching Novrich for a while,
Yeah.
and I was like, oh, that's something I want to do. Now obviously it changed later on, but I ended up getting one of his snipers at one point, the
Mm,
SSG-10 A1.
nice.
Um, I rocked with that for a little while, but ended up getting back into M4s later. But when I arrived in Missouri, it was a little bit before I actually got into it. Um, but I ended up starting off with a G&G, um, and played basically just backyard because the nearest field to me was over 3 hours away, and I had just gotten my license.
Oh shit.
And it's
Yeah.
like, there's no way I'm gonna be doing any kind of drive that far away with a brand
Hmm.
new license. It wasn't even my own car, so you're not going that far. Um, so we ended up just having a friend come over, and we would just airsoft in our front yard almost
Yeah.
because I was living off base by this point. Um, you know, we were just running up between a little section of woods that we had right next door to the front door.
Yeah.
Mm. I mean, that was the start to airsoft for me until I got um, to Michigan. Michigan, I had like this long span where I wasn't really in airsoft anymore. And then, you know, I was getting ready to go into the Air Force, and I was like, I got to shave off some weight because I was like, I think I want to say it was about 18 pounds over
Yeah.
the um, the
Their limit
weight
for the
requirement.
height. Yeah.
Yeah, because
Hmm.
I'm 6'1", and I think my weight had to be like 202 or
Right.
205, and
Hmm.
I think I was 218 when I was
Gotcha.
getting ready to go, and I was like, I'm gonna drop down to 200. And that ended up being my goal, and I was like, all right, so we go to the gym, and then I would run on the treadmill, and I'd weigh in, and I'm like, I feel like I'm not losing anything.
Yeah.
And I came to the result that it was like, you know, maybe I lost a pound during
Hmm.
that, but I was like, I could feel myself losing the weight while I was doing it, kind of feeling like, you're just doing it so you can lose the weight. But I was
Uh
like,
huh.
what's a way where I can distract myself from losing that? And I was
Right.
like, airsoft. You're running around. You're not realizing you're sweating. You're not realizing that you're not paying attention to the fact that you're losing weight. You're paying attention
Right.
to the fact that you're playing a game. So
Hmm.
I was like, I'll get back into airsoft. So I looked up local fields. I was like, I'm gonna go to this field on Saturday, just out of the
Yeah.
blue. I was like, I'm just gonna go to the field. I had all my gear at this point, so I just took it with me and went. And while I was there, I ended up making a friend who had already started a team, and I was like, I'm trying to get into this a little more. Like, I want to be on the field a lot more. I mean, this is my first time actually being to a real airsoft field, and I was like, I want to get into this a little more. I want to start working off the weight,
Yeah.
and I ended up joining up with his team. He brought me right on, and within I think like 2 or 3 months, he had brought me up to his admin team for his team, and 'cause I do a lot of the Discord coding and tech work and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Um, and I had done it for his Discord, and I had changed some things. We built our own Discord and all that, and he brought me onto the admin team, and it was pretty fun.
Yeah.
We did quite a bit of stuff until our team ended up getting busy, and we ended up having to shut it back down. But
Mm.
um, no, when he brought me on, that was pretty cool because I actually did end up hitting the weight requirement.
Oh,
I
nice.
actually dropped all the way down into the hundreds
Oh
without
shit.
realizing it. So that was amazing, and I think where I lost most of the weight is when I traveled with him like 4 days after meeting him.
Hmm.
Within like 4 days of just meeting this guy, I was already down in Indiana with him.
Holy shit.
Um, So it was,
For
that
airsoft?
was yeah, just for airsoft. We
Damn.
went to a field called Sherwood Forest in LaPorte, Indiana.
Okay.
Massive field. It's amazing. They
Really?
have castles and stuff in there.
What?
Yeah,
I
it's
don't think I've ever heard of
castles.
this field.
That's one to look up. I believe it's 80 acres of land, so it's
Damn.
massive field, and there's a lot of flank points, creek beds, all kinds of things. It was a blast, and I think we're going back this year actually. Um,
That
but
sounds cool as hell.
yeah, so when we did shut down that team, me and him kind of had a falling out for like a little bit. It
Yeah.
wasn't really like a bad fallout or anything. It's just like we went different routes in
Mm.
airsoft. I went and started my own milsim team for a little bit.
Yeah.
It didn't really work out at first because I didn't know what I was doing, um,
Yeah.
and it just kind of fell apart. I didn't have a whole lot of people on the team, and
Okay.
we were trying to travel really far, and it didn't really work out for everybody's schedule.
Yeah, I was
But
gonna say that's a tough one, man, because getting a milsim team together is unless you're really close to a big area that
oh yeah,
that a company uses regularly, um, you're going to be driving pretty far.
long, yeah,
Uh-huh. And if it's difficult, and milsim is like a 3-day milsim is a pretty big commitment. Um, you've got the ticket is more expensive than like going to a regular field, indoor or
oh yeah,
open play, outdoor or something. Um, it's way more investment, the ticket and then the travel and then all the gear requirements, uniform requirements, all that kind of stuff. Having extra batteries if you're running AGs, having extra, make sure they have, if you're running HPA, make sure they have a place to refill if they're going to,
right?
some milsims don't offer that. Like they
Nope.
won't have somebody there that refills your tank. So what do? Bring an extra tank or bring a backup AEG instead, or it's just it's a huge commitment compared to 1-day play, somewhere.
Right.
It's hard to
Yeah.
get a group together to do all that.
Oh yeah. Matter of fact, while I was running that team that wasn't really working out, um, it was like the really early days of that team. I got invited to go to a Milsim West event with
Oh
a group
shit.
of people.
Yeah.
Um, that was like a fellow team that I'm really good friends with, and I ended up saying, "Yeah, I'll go." Um, and originally it was going to be like, I think somebody was going to buy my ticket for me, and I was like, "Yeah, I'm going to go. My ticket's free." That's
Yeah.
pretty awesome. And it was actually Milsom West down in Oklahoma.
Okay.
Um, I ended up not getting a free ticket and had to pay their later on price, which was not cheap.
Yeah.
um, Ended up going though, and it was great.
Holy shit. Okay.
We
It was
arrived.
a 40 hour.
Yeah, it was 40 hour.
Okay.
It was at Battle Springs Ranch in Oklahoma. Awesome place. Absolutely loved that field.
Nice.
Um, so we didn't last very long. We played NATO and Rust 4 and the militia just wiped us out every day.
Really?
I don't
Damn.
think we held an objective longer than maybe 5 minutes until we got to our last one.
Holy
Um,
shit.
so it was just nonstop. You're dead.
God.
um, our team was very inexperienced when we went. There was a lot of people that it was their first time going to a Milsim West or first time even just on a Milsim experience.
Yeah.
Um, so when we were setting up like perimeters, 360 perimeters, people didn't go to the right spots and just left open flanks, and it was very easy for us four to just kind of slip in. Um, and at the time, I was playing platoon medic, so I'm sitting in the middle. Um, and the way Milsom West does it, they have the water bottles to revive. Like the first time you get hit, it's a
Yeah.
tourniquet. Buddy aid, like one of your friends can put the tourniquet on. And if you get hit again, you have to find a medic. Like a medic has to find you actually, but
Gotcha.
they have to give you a water bottle. Um, and I didn't know this going into it. when you choose platoon medic, but your gameplay isn't going to be, running up front. I should have kind of thought about that when I accepted the role, but
Yeah.
um, I also didn't know I was going to be carrying 20 water bottles on my person. And
What
I was like,
now?
that's heavy.
Explain this. What is so the medic? So you signed up as a medic. What do you have to do with the water bottles? I don't think I've seen this on Milsim West stuff. I haven't watched a lot of the videos on it.
So the water bottles are basically revive water. So, like I said, the first hit, you have to put on that tourniquet.
Yeah.
It's just a dummy one, of course. But the second time you get hit, one of the medics has to give you a water bottle, and it's a great way to keep like everybody hydrated on the field because
Oh,
people will forget to
right.
drink their water. Um, so they'll drink their water bottle. The medic has to stay with them while they do that, and the person who's down drinks the entire water bottle and then gives that empty water bottle back to the medic, um,
Oh
so
shit.
they can
Now this is one
resupply
of
later.
those regular store bought kind of regular
Yeah.
16.9 ounce or whatever they are
Yep. Yep.
things of
Just
water.
that.
Okay.
Just that generic tall water bottle. Yep.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And they have to drink that whole water, and then they're up again. But if they get hit again, that's it. They're done.
They're done.
Yep. So
In
yeah,
Milsim West, I'm not sure about it, about all the rules. If you get hit, is there a respawn point? So if you get hit the third time, you go back to respawn, and then you can. Was it a time limit or something? You have to wait, and then you get
um,
back in.
there is a respawn, but by the time you get to it, your objective's probably wiped out.
Yeah,
Unless you're at one of like the longer distanced ones.
gotcha.
For us, the first one that we did, we had to hold down where we had slept that night, which was just some like open field, which we didn't hold very long. I think it took them like maybe 5 minutes to push us all off.
Oh God.
Um, and it was quick. It was very rapid.
Yeah.
Um, so that gave us our first taste, and it was very disappointing for like everyone because we were like all gung ho that morning. Everybody was like, "Yeah, we're gonna get them," and then we all lined up, and it was immediate wipeout.
Oh, I mean, it's discouraging, man. If you get your, face pushed in like bad, it's like, dude.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
but I had a great time walking with all the waters. I probably won't do platoon medic again unless I'm fully prepared for that because I had water bottles in my dump pouch, so I couldn't
Oh
even
God.
throw my mags in there.
Right.
I had water bottles sticking out of mag slots.
Oh,
um,
I'm sure. Well, I mean, it's added weight, and then you're pretty much not able to shoot them once you get
mhm.
started. Once your team gets started, and somebody starts getting hit, like just one person. Now you got to run, and
Yep.
then it takes a minute, and then you got uh, the next guy, and it's like you're constantly going back and forth. And then once they're on the
Oh, yeah.
water bottle thing, it's
Oh
it
yeah, you
takes
gotta wait for them. Yeah. You're like, hurry up and drink
chug,
it.
chug, chug, chug.
You're waiting for them to do that little water bottle trick where they push the back of the water bottle. I had one person do that. They just like pushed the entire water bottle into their mouth. So it was
Oh,
like,
that's awesome.
thank you for doing that. Give me the water bottle. I was like, I gotta go run to the next person now.
Hmm.
But you start to feel better as more water bottles are drank because you're like, yes, less weight, less weight, less weight.
Right. But
And when
that
you're
means your
carrying,
guys are getting hit, which is
yeah,
like, oh shit, now we're about to
yeah,
lose this thing.
yep. Because like when you're the platoon medic, it's a little bit easier on the water bottle front because you're sitting in the back.
Yeah.
Whereas the medics, like generic medics, are only carrying 5 water bottles and they're up on the front. And they run out so quickly. They bring you back all their empties, and you swap them with them. But I'm like standing in the back. My pants are falling down because of these water bottles. I'm like, somebody please come back with your waters so I can get rid of these.
Oh my God.
And then they'll bring a truck in with another case of water bottles so everybody can resupply. But unfortunately, like I said, we kept getting wiped, so we kept losing our supply every time it showed up. It would show up, and we would just get wiped off an objective the moment it arrived. And I'm like, yeah, we could have used those.
Oh my God.
So we were wiped off, and then they would take our water bottles because they could do that. And they'd loot all
Wow.
of the medics they would kill too. So we would lose our water so fast.
Holy
Um,
shit.
every time I got to an objective, I had to get new water bottles.
Yeah.
It was bad from the start, and then when we finally got pushed back to our last objective, which was like this massive shoot house, um, I think I had started turning on my camera around that point, and it was beautiful. I mean, I loved being in the building. We were out of the cold finally, for the
Yeah.
most part. Um, we got to set up, take over the top floor. Um, I saw myself come out in the milsim mode. I was ready. We're gonna stay up all night. People are gonna rotate shifts on windows, all kinds of things, and
Yeah.
it worked out for the most part until I think we at one point dropped our guard, and
Oh
I had
shit.
I had taken a quick sleep, and that quick sleep got quickly interrupted um, by a grenade coming at the front of the building.
Oh shit.
I guess somebody had ran up and just threw it at the front door, and it
Yeah.
just popped off. It woke me up because it's just steel containers stacked on top of each other. So
Mm,
that sound just reverberates through the entire building. And
right.
you're like, I'm awake now. I'm not sleeping
Holy
anymore.
shit. Right?
So that last night was probably the best night overall, though, even though it was so chaotic.
Yeah.
Um, just from that nade alone, like all of us were woken up at this point. Nobody was really trying to get any sleep at that point. Like
Yeah.
we're all at windows at 5 in the morning, and we didn't even see an attack until I think like 10. We're all just standing around
Oh
watching
my
watching
god.
open fields and forest
Holy
lines.
shit. So this was like the
This was the
so now
last
you're
stand.
now
Yeah.
yeah, that last day you're kind of going right towards the end there. Okay.
Yeah. We had done so bad in the previous objectives that I'm pretty sure I remember hearing our cadre say that over the radio, like overhearing his conversation, that they had told Russ 4 to stop pushing for a little bit because like we were losing so bad. Like the first day, we probably would have been wiped off of everything.
Holy
Um,
shit.
so it was really bad.
That's
um,
wild. Well,
yeah.
is it because a lot of more experienced players sign up for the Rust side
I,
than the
I th-
NATO?
I think that's what happened. I think the Rust 4 had like a lot of people. I mean, they had a Alphonse on their side as
Oh
well.
shit.
We had Jet.
Oh,
um,
nice.
it didn't last too long. I think they were actually gunning for him because that nade landed right in his area.
Oh my
Um,
god.
so it was pretty quick for them to take us over, and then obviously we're fighting two factions. We had Rust 4 and Militia, which that doesn't always go too well when your team's very undermanned and
Yeah. Underskilled
under
compared. Yeah.
yeah, underskilled and unmanned. So we had a lot of
Oh my
posts that
gosh.
would be left open. That shoot house was like the first time we actually had organization, I believe.
Okay.
Like we were actually watching our sides and actually were able to hold something for longer than 5 minutes. I think we ended up holding it for at least an hour and a half, but
Uh,
we still got wiped off very quickly.
yeah.
Uh, we had set this one defense up. At this point, I think I was already dead, but I was watching it with my camera. When I was up there, I had these two guys in a back room that overlooked the staircase, and they had a bunch of nades in that room, like just a bunch of them. And when Russ 4 started climbing up the stairwell, they would just put their hand out the window and drop a nade. So it
Oh,
would
nice.
pop right at the bottom of the stairs. So they
Mm-hmm.
weren't able to go up that stairwell until they ran out of nades. They were trying
Oh
to throw
shit.
them back up into the room, all kinds of things. I think they ended up getting them with one of the nades at one point, but it was funny to watch it happen because I was just watching nade after nade get dropped out the window. Like it was repetitive. It was one nade would fall down, and they were like, "What was that?" And then it would go pop, wipe
Nice.
out everybody at the stairwell.
Oh shit.
No, it was fun to watch, but they took over that shoot house so fast. Once they ran out of nades, it was over. I was like, we're
Right.
done. They cleared that room like right after one nade throw, and then they got up on the top floor, and I was like, we were watching it. The last person alive was Jet running up to the very top of the shoot house,
Oh
and
shit.
they were chasing up the whole stairwell. So I was like, yeah, we're done. At this point, this is
Oh,
more of the comedy show.
oh my god. Now what event was this again?
This was Milsom West, I believe, counterattack on Salsk.
Okay.
Um, this one was down in Oklahoma. It was.
Yeah.
I'd still say that's one of my highlight Milsom events, and I've attended quite a few now.
Okay.
Um, and yeah, still one of my best ones.
Really?
I
That's
I
cool,
had a
man.
blast at it. Although I'm not going to carry as much gear as I did that time. I carried so much gear. I think I outweighed myself in gear.
Uh-huh.
And I was like,
That's
yeah,
a lot.
you don't do that.
Yeah.
No. And I didn't even have the right rucksack. I had one of the ones the National Guard gives you. You know, like when they're recruiting you, they're like, "Here's some swag." I had one of those backpacks. I was like, "This is basically a school backpack at the end of the day," and I'm
Oh
just
shit.
loading it down. It was like it was not a comfortable bag. So every time we would ruck around, I was like, "I'm not comfortable." And then I'm
Yeah.
carrying the water bottles on top of that. Um,
It
I
didn't
had
rip though. That's
it
good.
didn't rip. That's the funny
Oh, that's
part. I was
amazing.
like, I was
Yeah.
waiting for it to just shred apart while I was
Mm-hmm.
walking. Instead, it was my water bladder, like the Camelback system. My water bladder just busted open at
Oh
one point.
shit.
And I was like, I think in one of my videos, I've caught drinking somebody else's. They were like, here, and I was like drinking it when we were rucking. I was like, I gotta drink somebody else's. This sucks.
Oh shit.
Like mine's busted and leaked everywhere.
Mm.
I was like, that's a string of bad luck right there. I'm gonna next time I know what to do though, and I carried that over to my new team. So
Right.
it's one of those informations. You got that experience. You bring it to the next people who are gonna go.
Right.
And
Well, how
when
many
it's
Milsims had you been to
ooh
before you went to the Milsim West?
ooh,
Like
I
it
know
wasn't
the funny part is we actually have it on a team map on how many we've been to already. Like previous between
yeah.
me and that friend from earlier. I think you're actually gonna have him on tomorrow.
Who's
Oddball
that?
Rambo.
Yeah.
Yep. Um,
Oh shit, okay.
yep.
Yeah,
He's
he's
actually the co-founder of Whitehorse.
really.
Yep. So you have me today and him tomorrow.
Let me see what yeah, it is.
Yep.
Oh, that's cool. Dakota.
Yep. That's him.
Awesome.
And yeah, we have a team map that shows where me and him have been, and we're gonna add on to it as our team starts attending. Like we're going to Mir Tacticals at Operation Blacklist in Sheboygan, Wisconsin.
Okay.
Um, I've never been to that AO. I've had a lot of friends, including Dakota, go to that AO because it's a Sheboygan mental asylum. Um,
Somebody was just recently telling me about that. Okay.
yeah, I've always wanted to go, but every time I wanted to go, I broke a bone or
Oh shit.
um, had something else happening the same time. I was like, I want to go so bad.
Yeah.
Like I think the last time they had one, I ended up going to Missouri um, for a Red Arrow Milsim event down
Hmm.
there,
Yeah.
and it was a blast. I was the only Michigan one there, aside from the company owner himself, and ended up falling off of a ridge within the first 15 minutes of playing. Like we had nobody had even fired a shot yet. We were going
Oh my
down a
god.
little cliff face, and I
Yeah.
just went whoop
Holy
straight
shit.
down this thing. When I landed, my ankle basically went like back like that, like pushed
Right.
all the way back.
Ooh.
Um, on the way down, I heard like that snapping noise, like your bones cracked.
Jesus.
I thought it was a twig, and like I
Oh.
broke a branch or something on the way down.
Right.
So when they got me up to the top, they pulled me back up and all this. I iced it, and then eventually I walked to my car. We're all thinking it's a bad sprain.
Right.
Um, and taking ibuprofen, and I'm like, all right. After they do the little lunch time kind of thing, because this wasn't like 40-hour nonstop. This was like there's a couple stops in between,
Sure.
or you can get off whenever you want.
Mm-hmm.
When they did the lunch, I was like, all right, when the game kicks off again, I'm gonna hop in there, and I did, and I was playing. I'm playing on this fractured ankle. It's a rock quarry, so
Oh
I'm
shit.
climbing over rocks the whole time and all
Yeah.
kinds of things. And I'm down in Missouri. I'm already 8 hours away from home, and I'm just crawling over stuff. I still had 2 more days left in Missouri after the event.
Oh
Um,
fuck.
I stayed for both days. I didn't play on the second day because when I got to the hospital, I looked at my foot the hotel. I looked at my foot and I was like, "It's purple. It's swollen all over the
Uh-huh.
place." And I was like, "That's probably not good."
Yeah.
I was grabbing ice from the hotel room and all kinds of things, and I was trying to do
Yeah.
my best to treat it. And got back to the field the second day. I was like, "I'm not playing," and they were like, "You good?" And I was like, it's very swollen and like purple, so I don't think
Mm-hmm.
it's best that I play. I think I did what I could while I was here.
Yeah.
um,
Damn. Right in
I
the
drove
beginning
home.
too.
Right, and I drove home on that ankle because it was
Holy
my right
shit.
ankle. Um, I used cruise control for a lot
I
of
was
the
just
drive
gonna
home.
say, did you use cruise
um,
control?
I got lucky. There was actually a semi heading up to Grand Rapids, Michigan. And I'm like, "Ooh, you're heading up to basically the same area as me."
Yes.
I was like, "I'm just gonna kind of ride you because
Mm-hmm.
you're gonna be going at a reasonable speed and you're going to the same location." So I was like, "I'm just kind of gonna sit behind you because if I could
Right.
keep my gas mileage up a little bit too, I
Uh-huh.
don't have to pull over." And
Draft.
yeah, I was like, "I won't have to pull over as early to fix this situation with my ankle."
Right.
Mm, yeah, it was bad. Like I had no idea I had a fractured ankle yet. I ended up going to work when I got home instead of going to the hospital.
Jesus.
I think for like 2 days, and then I was like, okay, it's really bad. I need to go to the hospital.
Yeah.
And I ended up going there. Like, "Hey, you have a fractured ankle." It was like cracked right along the where your ankle actually bends,
Mm-hmm.
um, like right across the front of my foot, and it was cracked open.
Ugh.
Um, I was like, ooh. And I think I ended up being off for about 6 weeks. And
Okay.
all these great AOs went by. I was like, I'm sad. I'm depressed. And at that time, I was already getting that follower count on Instagram, and I was trying to
Okay.
put out content and all kinds of things. And then that happened,
Yep.
and I was off for 6 weeks. I couldn't make any content. And I was like,
Oh
just
shit.
slowly watching that follower count drop. I was like, all my work going down the drain.
Oh shit. Oh my
Um,
god.
I was so sad.
Now, did your
But
ankle ever end up healing
yeah,
pretty good then? Okay. It was all
it did
fine.
heal. I did have
Yeah.
to go to physical therapy for a while, which actually for once worked for me because usually I'm really stubborn about going to that.
Yeah.
Um, but it did work out. My ankle, occasionally if it's cold, I'll get that arthritis feeling in all the joints and stuff.
Gotcha.
But I think I had a little bit of nerve damage in the process of that fall. Um,
Yeah.
that's to be expected when your ankle bends backwards.
Sure.
um,
Those tendons, man, they don't, unless you really work, like it takes a long time for that shit to heal.
oh yeah.
Yep.
So that ended up happening, and I was like, "This sucks." um, but it all worked out for the better after
Yeah.
the later on because now I got good stories.
That
I
makes,
had actually wish I had gotten it on recording. I hadn't even turned on my cameras yet. Um, I was so sad that I hadn't turned them on because that would have been a great fall.
oh my God.
uh, um, but I actually ended up bumping into two people who were there when it happened, and
Yeah.
I was like, and it was funny because I was just playing a rec game here in Michigan, and I was running with two guys, and I was telling them about the event because we were climbing up a little face that was about the same height as the one I fell off of, and I'm like
Yeah.
climbing up it, and I'm like, I hope I don't fall down this. I fell down one similar to this already, and they're like, we ended up talking about it, and got on the point that I had fallen off of a cliff in Missouri, and they were like, that was you? I was like, what do you mean that was me? You were there?
Oh my God.
They were like, yeah, we heard about it on the radio that somebody had fallen off a cliff. And I was like, yeah, about that.
Oh my God.
I was like, I had shifted my weight improperly. I had all my weight in my backpack, and when I had turned, my backpack just took me down. It was like
Uh-huh.
goodbye. It was just right down the ridge within like the first 2 seconds of trying to turn. I believe like right before I fell, I had said I'm gonna fall down this thing. So
Oh
I was
shit.
like, I even called it out when it happened, and I was like, that's sad. That's almost embarrassing to call it out and
Oh,
then do it.
Jesus.
Oh, and it was funny too because I was in like a group, I think of like 12 of us going down that ridge, and I was the last one in that group, and I just landed at their feet.
Oh my
I was
God.
like, woohoo! Hi guys,
You
I
made it
broke
down.
myself. I was like, you guys are slow. I'm already here.
Hell yeah.
Um. So yeah. Yeah, it ended up being pretty great. Um. Overall, but
Good.
we started Whitehorse, and it just now we're getting ready to plan all these events. We got this long Discord list of events that we're gonna go to or trying to plan out.
Okay.
We have meetings like every third Saturday. Occasionally, we'll sprinkle one in there to plan out an event, make sure that we have everything prepared.
Right.
But we actually had one yesterday too.
You
For
had an event?
no, we had a round table as we
Oh,
call it.
gotcha.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
we all join into our Discord channel and we talk about events going on and things that we're
Okay.
just doing in our life alone.
Right.
If we have any new team members join in, we talk to each other, get to know each other a lot more. Um, so it's pretty great to meet all the new team members because we're sitting at 20 now and we're spread out from Michigan all the way down to Louisiana.
Wow.
Um, my my good friend is actually now in Louisiana, not Dakota, but one of my other good friends, the one
Right.
I like to stream with. Um,
Gotcha.
he's way down there, and I'm trying to get him into it a little more because he's just jumping into it. He's been watching my content for over a year now, and he's like,
Okay.
I want to get into it, and I was like, I'm gonna push you into it. It's like you're ready.
Right.
And last night, one of our team members was offering up like a good amount of gear. I was like, you need to jump on that.
Yeah.
I was like, he's offering it cheap. You need to jump on that.
Yeah. No shit. Well,
Um,
that's the thing. Like we were talking earlier. If you've never been to a mill sim or you're just getting into it, you got to start getting. You got to start getting gear set up.
hmm
Built up
Oh yeah.
to go to these events. Yeah.
Oh yeah. See, like most people say, it's 90% looks. So you want to get what you want to look good in. So a
Uh
lot of
huh.
the time, I'm creating these new kits, and I'm like, yeah, I look pretty good in this. Uh, I like this, and then some of them I find out aren't very practical at certain events. So I'm like,
Yeah.
I need to figure out what kits for what, and figure this out a little bit better. But he's still learning, just like I'm still learning. I mean, airsoft's a learning curve with a lot of things. So
Oh, sure.
between making your gear functional and I guess wanting it to look good, and that's
Yeah.
that's part of it. So
Hmm.
um, yeah,
So
getting
you
into
guys
that
have
a
been
little more.
to a bunch of mill sims then. If you started
Um,
out going to a lot of them and then created a team.
yep.
Um,
Um, I think
so you've been
I've
doing that for a little while.
yeah, I think I've personally been to 9 since I've hopped back into it. 9 or 10.
Nice.
Um, Obviously there's rec games in between all of that, but um, most of the bigger ones I'll go to usually end up traveling out of state. And I was like, I like this. It's fun to travel,
Yeah.
and because it brought me back to what I had when I was younger, traveling around with the
Hmm.
military. So
Yeah.
it's like perfect. I'll get back into that again. Just travel to all these AOs. Um, so hopped back into that, and you know now we're all talking about going to these larger events. They're quite a ways away, and I'm like, yeah, time to start renting a car because a Jeep Wrangler doesn't really do very well on long trips. I found out.
Right?
They're not the best for traveling anything over here and there.
Yeah. Yeah, I
um,
saw in your Discord you had on there Jeep, Jeep guy or whatever. I have
yep.
a '96 Cherokee, Grand Cherokee.
Nice. I love those.
Yeah.
Like I'm not a big fan of. I like to call them cookie cutter SUVs, which is like
Yeah.
what we have now. You get your Ford Explorers and stuff like that, and they all look identical.
Oh
They
yeah.
just change a grill or something, and I'm like, yeah, it's the same car.
Uh-huh.
But I love to see the old Cherokees and a lot of the older Wranglers. I have a 2010 myself.
Okay.
Um, it was my dream car to have like the 4-door Jeep Wrangler, and I was like super excited when I got it, kind of thing. And then I'm like finding out that it's got a lot of these issues that it likes to
Oh
have
shit.
non-stop. Like they really aren't joking when they say just empty every pocket, and Jeep spells just empty every pocket.
Oh shit.
So I'm over here just dumping money into it, but it's also you're dumping money into it and it's looking good, like you're beefing it up and
Mm-hmm.
go off roading with it. I end up posting it on my YouTube along with the
Okay.
airsoft videos. So I'm like, I'll post any of the videos when I go off roading. It's more content and it's
Yeah.
something I like doing. So it's yeah, I got that going, and you know, it likes to break. So I'm
Right.
not a huge fan of fixing it because I'm not that great at fixing cars.
Oh shit.
um,
Yeah.
yeah. Luckily, my family's pretty mechanically inclined. I don't think I made that roster. I think I ended up getting a lot of my mom's side. I'm more journalism based, and
Gotcha.
I like to be behind my computer, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I
um,
started working on mine. Just well before this is a few years ago. Before we started our channel, before I got sick, before I was paralyzed, I the inside of it, like I said, it's a '96. The guy that we bought it from was a friend of ours who worked construction,
right,
and he actually did grading, so for new home construction, and he would drive a Bobcat,
right.
and so he'd be out on these job sites where it's all just bare dirt, so when it rains it's mud, so the inside was just covered in mud. He never cleaned it out. um, there was just big chunks of red mud just stuck to everything
Oh,
inside. So when we got it, we cleaned it out really good, and then but I was gonna make I was using it as a work truck, and I was gonna make it kind of into a covered kind of pickup truck,
right.
So I was gonna rip the back seats out, rip everything out the back, like all the interior stuff. The headliner was falling, was drooping down, so I ripped that out. Took all of the carpet and everything out, took the back seats out, and I was going to make like tool compartments in the back where the back seats were, and then the back bed part would be, I could transport supplies or whatever. So,
Right.
and it's 4-wheel drive. The thing, it's great. It's a
Oh yeah.
beast. Has a brush guard on the front. Then, and I was going to put a winch on and everything. So I was about a month into ripping everything out. So I got everything ripped out the back. I got all the stuff, I got wires exposed, and the for where the headliner was and shit like that, run along the sides. This thing, just ripped everything out, bare bones, down to nothing. And then I think, like I said, I got all that. It was like a month, and then I was paralyzed, so I couldn't work on it. It's still like that in the back now, so I haven't really caught up to it because I haven't been well for long enough because I was out of work. It's like so that's been on the back burner. So I've only been working on it now just to keep it running. So
Right.
like a few months ago or last summer, it was the wheel bearing was messed up, needed replaced. Well, then all of that was everything in that whole wheel hub and everything was seized up. So
Oh,
nothing would we put heat on it. We did. So I just had to cut the whole um,
oh
control
no.
arm off the frame. I have videos of it actually that I'm cutting this whole thing off with I went through I don't know how many cutting wheels, cutting all this steel off,
Oh
but
no.
yeah, with an angle grinder, and bought a whole new setup, put everything back on, so that was good, but that took a little while. And then recently my exhaust manifold was busted, so and
Like that.
then the straight pipe. So I got the exhaust manifold replaced, so I got that done, and then the pipe um, where your oxygen sensor is, the
Yep.
upper one,
Hmm.
that was seized up in there.
Oh no.
Okay, I mean I could not break this thing free. It was just so I cut that off. Have to drill the hole. I'm like, you know what? I think I'm just gonna buy a whole new pipe and just put the new pipe on the new manifold and start over. So, but yeah, it's a slow process, man. When it's cold
Oh
out
yeah.
too, and you're trying to
Oh
work
no.
on because I don't have a garage, so it's sitting
Oh
outside, and it's
yeah. No.
fucking 30 degrees, 35 degrees out at night. Man, that steel is not easy to work on
No,
because
it's
a
not.
lot of these things when you're taking off bolts and nuts or whatever, that you don't want to lose. Like you can't use gloves. Like you got to feel around where you're, sticking your arms in places that, you can barely get into.
Right.
It's yeah, it's a ton of work. So I know what you mean when shit breaks on there. Now, luckily, the good thing is the parts for this thing are pretty easy to find and they're cheap as hell.
Right.
So
Yep.
yeah, that's good.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking with my Jeep. I was like, aftermarket parts aren't as expensive as the factory. So if something breaks, there's usually a replacement in aftermarket parts for Jeep. Um, so I ended up going with Jeep. I was like, it was my dream car. I got to get a Jeep, and I ended up working as a bagger when I was in Missouri, and I don't know how, but I guess I had got enough money to at least get close to affording one. My dad ended up helping me out with buying the
Yeah,
first car, and um, he co-signed on a loan for me,
nice.
and went for my $18,000 car. uh, Finding out a lot of some issues that it had later on. But it's been a great first car overall. I mean, I bought it when it was at like 60,000 miles. I'm just nearing 90 now.
Okay.
Um, I've had it I think for like 4 years now, so
Yeah.
put on some miles. But
Yeah.
um, I've had a blast with it. It's a car I can off road with. It's a nice looking car because I can build onto it.
Oh, sure.
Um,
I always loved the Wranglers, man.
oh yeah. But
Now, do
yeah.
you like the new ones with the truck bed or the pickup
Oh, the
bed in the
Gladiator.
back? Yeah, the
The
Gladiator.
Gladiator. Um, so I like the older Gladiator more than I like this newer one. Just to me, the newer one kind of looks like a Wrangler with a truck bed at the
That's
end
what.
of the
Yeah.
day. But
Right.
I mean, it's starting to grow on me a little more
Hmm.
as I look at it. I wouldn't say it's like the best thing. I would always take a older one over a newer one in this
Yeah.
case. Um,
Yeah. When I first saw these newer ones, I was like, "Ew."
yeah, I was like,
It's something
ew.
about it just does not look
Mm-mm.
attractive.
And then like mine, when I bought my Jeep, I bought it when Chrysler owned Jeep, so
Yeah.
it's a Chrysler Jeep.
Right.
I always thought it was funny because it's Canadian, so like everything inside of it's all messed up. But like I can't read any of this.
That's
And it's
funny.
like it's all in English, but I can't read it.
Oh shit.
I'm trying to base everything on kilometers, but now my gauge is off, so now I'm just timing it with a digital setup. But
Yeah.
um, yeah, but
So yeah, I want to get into your app.
oh, okay.
Yeah.
Um,
That
yeah.
is
So
yeah. So like I said, when when I saw your reel that you posted,
yep,
uh, that was I'm very interested because dude, this you're doing it at the perfect time too. Because
yep,
like I said, that a lot of people are looking for something else. We've actually talked about it on the podcast a handful of times. It's come up. In fact, the monthly backspin thing we did last month was, um, it came up about that kind of issue, and people were talking about it, and I've suggested a couple, or not suggested, but asking people, hey, what do you think about Twitter now that it's more open? Uh, and it's so what options do we have, right? And then I
Hmm.
saw your reel where you're working on this app. So how did you? I guess how did you get into coding
Ooh,
and that
that's
kind of thing, and working on all that technical,
yeah.
all that kind of stuff? How'd you get into that, and then how did you come up with the idea for the app?
So for the coding portion, when I first started learning, the big part was, I'm on Discord, and I wanted to, do more with my Discord server because I'd create one. And I'm like, it's very, you know, basic. Like I've created a channel, I can talk in it, that's cool. But then I was like, all right, there's got to be more with this app. I feel like there's more with Discord because
Yeah.
I'm going into Discord servers and they're like super developed. They have like these embeds going on, and their rules are like very well detailed and all this kind of stuff. And I was starting a gaming community, and I was like, I gotta make it look good. Um, and while I was in this gaming community, I was like, we started owning servers like for games. So I'd, like DayZ for instance.
Mm.
We'd start servers for DayZ, and I was like, you have to code this to put mods on it. You have to code this to change certain things. And I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm looking at a bunch of letters and text, and I don't know what any of this means. So I started watching a lot of YouTube videos.
Yeah.
Um, and I was learning from the YouTube videos like really fast. I would watch something work on the game, and I was like, "That's awesome! I'm learning. Like it's working." Like, and it was a lot of trial and error at first. I was like, I would type something wrong and then break our whole server,
Oh
and
shit.
everybody would be mad at me because I broke our server. uh, they're all progressing, and I'm over here. Hey guys, I broke it.
Oh my god.
All your stuff's gone. My bad.
Right.
I'd have to get in there and give it all back to them, and it was a lot of trial and error. I was trying to learn, so I ended up creating like test servers and working on it. And I was like, this time if I break it, nobody's gonna get hurt over it.
Right.
um, so I was learning a lot of coding and programming. I ended up liking Python for Python and C++ for
Okay.
coding. Two of the different languages there. C++ ended up being the one I ended up using the most. Python, more or less, if you're trying to create your own code, but I
Mm.
didn't do that as often.
Yeah.
um, so I would primarily use it to, make game servers. But around 2021, I was just finishing up welding while running that gaming community and learning coding and all that.
Yeah.
This is during the pandemic, so I'm
Okay.
trying to learn things. All my
Right.
classes are online. I'm at home. Why not?
No
So I'd
shit.
get I'd get home from work and I would just play with it. And everything started to work out better. My servers were looking really good. But around 2021, the server kind of fell apart. I had switched over to PC. Um, we were kind of divided a little bit because I was starting PC servers and not
Yeah.
paying attention to our Xbox servers as much. And I had teams that were running those for me, and they were doing really good. It's just our attendance count would start to drop on events and stuff
Mm.
like that, and it's like the less people show up, the less our servers look populated, and nobody's going to want to play on them when they're not populated. So
Okay.
um, we ended up losing our server. Like it was just becoming a money pit. I was spending more money into it um, than anything was being generated. So
For Discord? Like what?
for our servers, we were doing it through Discord, but
Okay.
we had like a ton of Discord servers based for our game servers.
Yeah. So
Um,
when you set up a server, what do you have to do as far as the monetary costs? What do you have to pay
uh,
for space, like the actual server?
For Discord, nothing, but the game servers, I had it depending on who you would go through to host it.
Okay.
It could cost whatever their monthly plan would be,
Right. Right.
and when nothing comes in monetary, you end up out of pocket.
Sure. So you're
Forking
talking
over.
like some of these games like Ark, like
Yeah. Yep.
Minecraft, like you can
Exactly.
okay.
Th-
They
those
offer
two.
those 10
Yep.
bucks a month for,
Yep.
to have your own server. Okay.
Yep. We had a Minecraft server and an Arc server actually.
Yeah, okay.
Um,
Yeah. Yeah, we did
and
too actually. My son Chris had both of them for a while.
Yeah, those are great games too. Those are actually, I think the Arc server was our most expensive one that money pitted the most. Um, we didn't have a big following for Arc when we started our gaming community, and
Yeah.
trying to grow it after you start the server is not a great idea.
Mm,
um, Usually you can, but with our following, we didn't have anybody who was interested in it, and I think we had
gotcha.
like maybe 5 people join,
Yeah.
and I was like, this isn't gonna go well. We couldn't even figure out how we wanted events to look, and then our server started getting laggy. So we were doing it through Nitrado, and I could not figure out Nitrado's menu to save the life for me.
Really?
Um, I was like, I don't like this. Like the menu was always slow for me. I was like,
Mm,
I need something different. When we switched over to PC, we found a company called Host Havoc, and coding on it was amazing. Programming on it, stellar. I was able to actually see where files were and
oh shit.
open
Okay.
them up, change things as I go, and we've ran multiple DayZ servers now on it,
Oh
and we
yeah.
love them. They host so well.
That's a
Um,
good game too. I played very little of that game, and
mhm.
I watched it being played a lot. My son was into it, and it's really it's a great survival game.
Oh yeah. And, I know there's a lot of people they watch the videos and stuff, and they see all the combat and they see like base building and all that. There's some really good you know what is it, bushcraft involved in
Yeah,
that game too. Like when you
right,
first start out, if you can find like an axe and stuff, you can do a lot in that game with just bare minimum gear.
right.
Me and my buddy were actually streaming it at one point, doing just that. We had our own base, but we were like, "Now let's go bushcraft," and we ran out and started working in the woods instead.
Yeah,
I think all we brought with us was maybe a rifle so we could hunt food, and that's about it.
yeah.
Um, and it was fun. We definitely enjoyed playing DayZ for a long time. We stopped playing recently and switched into just streaming different games. And then obviously now I'm working on the app. So
Right.
between me and him, I'm consistently working on the app, getting busy,
Sure.
trying to add new features left and right. And, you know, like I said, I've only learned from YouTube. So everything
Yeah.
I've done is primarily watching YouTube videos and trying to build the app through what I know. Um,
Right.
and I'm figuring out quite a bit as I go that, app building isn't easy. um,
Yeah, I can imagine. I don't know anything about coding and all that kind of stuff. I just know that it's definitely not for me. I had
yeah,
tried it years and years ago, probably like
yeah,
20 years ago, and I was like, nope, not
yep,
not my language. Like it
nope.
doesn't come natural. I'm completely confused all the time. I even had somebody that was a coder programmer who was teaching me, and it was like a second language to him. So just natural. He loved it. He would just sit and he picked it up really quickly, and he got Microsoft certified every year. Just like no big deal. And he's telling me these little tips and tricks, and I'm going, bro, you're really talking Chinese to me. I really don't understand this. It's not my thing, you know. Yep.
Yep. I was always like before I was doing the app. I was at one point I ended up starting to sell Discord servers. Like I would build them for people and then sell them
Yeah.
off. Um, I would teach some of my friends how to build Discord servers while I was at it, and I ended up finding out like a lot of these cool things where you can just pretty much eliminate all the bots in your server, just about. Like I think our Milsim server, I think we have 2 bots in our entire server,
Yeah.
and everything else is, um, you know, features of Discord or embeds that I added. Um, and we have a lot of really cool stuff going on in our server alone. And it's all rather simplistic to be
Yeah.
what it is.
Well,
But
the ones for our server, I set up the server. I started the server, but I didn't know how to do any. It was just start it, you know. One of the guys early on, one of the young guys, he that followed us and joined the Discord,
mhm,
just like 3 years ago. Uh, I was asked questions like, "Hey, is there a way to do this?" You know, and I would watch some videos, but like I said, it was bro, it was
yeah,
above my
different
head.
language.
And so I would put a question out there like, anyone know how to do this? And so he created the, what do you call the, is it Me Six? The, I don't
Yeah,
know what
me
that
six bot.
Me Six bot. So that's what runs now. I think I'm not sure what it does, to be honest. I know like the I don't know how much it does. I know that it does two. I know the two things it does is he linked it to my YouTube channel to
Hmm.
where when a video comes out, it gets posted on there.
Yep.
But I recently asked him, not him, because he actually went to college and he's not doing anything with the server, right, since then. But I asked some of our admins, hey, does anybody know how to change that me thing, whatever, to where it's not posting uh, the video and in, at everyone, you know?
Hmm.
Um, so I don't know how to go in there and turn it off. But so what it does is it goes to the general channel, it posts, and then
Yep.
it goes to the Trifecta Airsoft channel, and on that one it adds everyone.
Yeah.
Um, and I was like, which was not a big deal when I was releasing, 3 videos a month.
Right. Yeah.
But when I'm
Not.
doing it every day, Monday through Friday, um, I feel like if I was in that server, I'd be like, bro, stop it. Um, stop adding me. Okay. So I don't know how to go in and turn that. I don't mind that it posts in there, but for the YouTube video, but turn off the at everyone. I don't know how to do that shit, man. I'm like, bro, it's
I
above
could
me.
I could always help if you want me to.
Yeah.
I've actually worked with Me Six quite a bit when I was first starting out. Um, love that bot. It's got a lot of great features.
Okay.
I would say it's the primary Discord bot. Um,
Yeah.
I personally stopped using it in some of my servers only because I found ways to work around it.
Okay.
Um, but I think all I use now is Apollo, which is a type of event scheduling bot.
Huh.
Um, it's pretty cool, but you kind of have to create each event, which is kind of time consuming. Because
Oh,
you'll
okay.
be typing in all the information, so it's a little bit longer than.
Yeah.
I'm trying to find a workaround for that one already, but
Huh.
yeah,
Interesting. Well, how did you not to change the subject, but you said you got into welding?
I
Are
did.
you if you're not mechanically inclined and it's not really your thing, how did you how did you get into welding and fabricating? Was it because of your Jeep?
Actually, it wasn't. I got into it because I was, nowadays when you go to school, it's like go to college, go to college, go to college. That's all they
Right.
want you to do is go to college.
Yep.
And I was like, I guess I'm going to college. um, and I was working at a job where I was making mirrors, like the electrical assembly for mirrors.
Mm.
Um, which it was fun. It was fun. But I was like, I moved. I decided to move up to the HQ side of the house, and things didn't look up as well as I was hoping for.
Mm.
I didn't enjoy my time there. They kept calling me in on weekends and all this, and I'm
Oh
like,
shit.
I'm too young to be here every weekend, not having like any social life outside of here.
Yeah.
Um, And I was like, I think I'm going to go to college. And I ended up going to Grand Rapids Community College. Um, didn't know what I wanted to do when I signed up. I was like, I'm just going to go. I'll figure it out when I get there, kind of thing. And before I think I even started signing up for classes, I had declared my major to be welding. So I was like, you know what? I have friends in welding. I was like, I'm going to give it a shot. I was like, who knows? Maybe I'll like it. I like hands-on stuff. So
Yeah.
um, I tried it. I was super nervous when I first started doing it. The first thing they had us do was acetylene, torches and stuff like that, and I'm like, I'm gonna blow myself up. I was like, I'm gonna forget which dial to turn, and I'm gonna blow myself up. So I was like super nervous about it. I had to keep asking for help, and it turned out that don't be scared of everything, because I think that's where my confidence got boosted. Actually,
Mm-hmm.
um, asking for help was the start of it, and um, I might not be mechanically inclined, but my welds look very clean. So,
Oh, that's good. That's
um,
important.
because there's only so much that actually goes into welding that actually is measurements and all that. I mean, unless you're fabricating a lot, but
Right.
if you've already got the pieces, they're fabricated already. Everything else is going to run really smoothly as long as you know what to do when you're welding.
Yeah, exactly.
But I was going for an associate's, and in my last semester when COVID got really bad and they had us doing online classes, can't really learn a whole lot of welding when you're online.
Nope.
Um, so I was like, I don't really want to be in college anymore. All of a sudden,
Yeah.
I was like,
Right.
and it was bad too because I think I was part time working at Lowe's at this point. Um, I I think I was taking a class load of 6 classes, which is quite a lot for
Yeah, it
what I was
is.
doing. Um, and like I said, they're all online. So the issue with being online is, you can watch the video of your class because some teachers will just they'll record it
Oh,
and then they'll put it up later as well. But you have to join a Zoom call still. You
yeah.
join the Zoom call, they'll record the Zoom call in case you miss it. But I'm like, I ended up being that person that's like, I'll just fall asleep in class and then watch the
Watch
recording.
it later.
Yeah. Um, and I think what woke me up at this point is at one point I had joined my class early in the morning and decided to do it in my bed, and that was mistake number one because I fell asleep right at the beginning of the class. I don't even think we had started yet.
Holy shit.
Um, fell asleep, woke up. I was the only one left in the classroom with the teacher, and I was like, I'm just gonna quietly leave. uh, now it's like that's my wake up call. I'm falling asleep in all my classes. I feel like I'm gonna fail.
Yeah.
Um, and I was like, I'm not gonna go for my degree anymore. And I backed out.
Mm.
Ended up pulling myself out of my classes and took my certification because at this point I had already completed all the workload for getting certified as a welder.
Okay.
So I was like, I'll just take the certification. Why did I need a degree in the first place?
Yeah.
Most welders don't even have certifications, so
No. Uh-uh.
I was like, I'll just take my cert.
Yeah.
uh, and I did that, got my certification, graduated, and also get to call myself a college dropout, so that's a plus. I call myself a college dropout who also graduated. um,
That's so weird, right?
and not only that, graduated with honors.
Oh my God, that's funny.
Um, so I left, graduated with honors, got all that. I got my certifications, and then continued to work at Lowe's like a dummy. For I think almost another year.
Yeah.
I was like, "What am I doing? I'm making $13 an hour. I'm pretty sure McDonald's workers at this point were making more than me.
Right?
Matter of fact, now that I think about it, they were
Uh-huh.
making 15.70 here, and I was making 13.69. I was like,
Jesus.
I'm barely making money right now.
Uh-huh.
I was just barely making ends meet. I was like, I'm living on nothing right now. I was
Right.
like, I need to change jobs. It's time.
Mm-hmm.
And I started looking at welding jobs. Ended up working under like temp agencies for a little bit,
Oh yeah.
and I found out I don't like temp agencies.
Yep.
Got rid of that real fast. Ended up working for a place called Adient and found out that it was very, very similar to the company I was working for before I started welding.
Okay.
Only this time now it involves welding. I was like,
okay.
I was like, all right, this is fun. And then they started calling me in on the weekends again.
Oh, shit.
And I was like, and we're back.
Oh my god.
Back to where I started, but now I'm
Yep.
welding. But I was making $23 an hour.
Right.
Well, just shy of it. Now I was like, this. At least I'm making good money. But they would call me in on the weekends, and I had no work to do. So I'm there for 8 hours with nothing to do. And I'm like, why did you even call me in?
So they just needed someone on site in case.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because I was a repair tech, and the issue with being the repair tech, at least on the shift I was on, there's never anything to repair, like ever. Even on a normal day, I still would be sitting around for at least an hour before something would fail.
Right.
So I was like, "Yep, I don't think this job's for me either." I worked there for 3 months, and I was like, "It's time to switch again." I was like, I don't think this is going to be the position for me. I felt like I was, I could blast through the work too easily.
Yeah.
So I moved on to another company, and now I work for a place called Sherlock, and I weld shovels and stuff like that. And
Oh shit.
it's very, I would say it's like mediocre work because it's just normal. You do the same thing every day. It's you're welding shovels at the end of the day. I mean, you can make pretty welds, but at the end of the day, it's a shovel. So
Shovels are important, man. A shovel is actually one of my. It's in my top 3 of favorite tools.
Right.
I love to dig holes.
Well, check out Wolverine Tools. I weld those shovels.
Hell yeah.
I think I weld every week at least close to 400 to 500 of them. So
wow,
if not more.
Yeah.
So there's quite a few shovels out in the world right now. Yeah. Welded quite a few, like basically landscaping equipment.
Right.
So there's dirt tamps, there's wheelbarrows, all kinds of things.
Yep.
I like it, but MSU's calling, so
yes,
it's I'm looking forward to that, and that's just shy of 5 months away now.
Right.
And I'm like, I'm ready. I like that's all I can think about when I go into work now. I'm like, speed this up. I'm ready to go. I'm getting excited for that, and I'm getting too excited early, of course, because it's still a ways out, and it'll be my first time actually living in a dorm. So I'm like,
okay,
it's going to be a different experience for me. I mean,
sure,
different place, living in the dorms.
right.
So that'll be interesting.
Yeah.
But
yeah, living in dorms, I'm guessing you're not going to really have a lot of room for all your airsoft milsim gear.
Especially, I don't know if you heard recently, but MSU had a shooter on campus at one point. So right now would definitely not be the time to even consider airsoft on there. Yeah,
I think most schools are like that, where you can't, have any kind of thing like that on there. Yeah.
Nope. So I'm actually going to be leaving airsoft here, where I'm currently at, and just leave it all here. And whenever I go to events, I'll leave campus and come grab my gear, and then travel from there. So just one extra gas tank for every trip I go to. So that'll be a change. But I got a friend that's living not too far away from campus, so if I get the campus, because I think campus has a rule with first year attendees, you can't have your own car on campus.
That's what I've heard. Yeah, that's pretty common as well.
So
because of parking spaces.
Yeah. So they're gonna. Well, I think it's also included with the fact that it is a party school. I believe it's number 26 in the nation. So, So
It's funny how
that's
they have a ranking system for that.
yeah. I was like, who's creating this ranking system? Is there somebody going to every party school? Like they're
Dude,
just going to every college.
when I was getting out of high school, a lot of some of our friends were doing, joining different colleges and stuff, and somebody went to Ohio U, not Ohio State,
Yeah.
but Ohio U,
Yep.
OU, and it was, and that was, they were talking about it back then. This is 1989, okay?
Right.
And they were talking like, oh yeah, it's like number two. It's ranked number two for party schools in America. I'm like, how the fuck? Who know? How do you know? like,
Right. I'm like, how do they rank that?
I
I gotta know.
guarantee there's places like schools in Miami that are partying harder than
Right.
some podunk, little tiny college in wherever it was in, Dayton or something like that, Ohio. Like what?
Right. Yeah, and like it's funny too because if you can actually look up the rankings, and Harvard is even on there, and I'm like, Harvard, the school where probably nobody is going to be
Oh
partying,
shit!
is on the ranking list. They're not anywhere near the top, of course. They're like
I gotta
almost at the
see.
back, but
I gotta see what is it that they're ranking. Like, how does it?
I
What
know
criteria are they using to
exactly. I'm
rank?
like, what's the grading rubric here?
Right.
That
Oh
guy fell
shit.
asleep at the party. Is that part of it? There's a bunch of passed out people in the front yard of this house. Maybe that's
Right.
how it's ranked.
There
They
it
just
is.
drive by. There's a bunch of sleep drunk kids outside. That's it. The
Man,
cops have
that's
been
funny.
called. Maybe that's part of it.
Yeah, for
how
real.
many how many times the cops have to come to the campus? Maybe that's part of
Oh,
it.
Jesus. That's
Uh,
wild. Okay.
Noise complaints.
So you're going to be living on campus. That'll be different.
Yep, that'll be a change for me. So, um, quite excited. I'm gonna try it. I'm still on the fence if I'm gonna bring my PC with me for that, or if I'm gonna look to buying a different option and bringing
Yeah.
it. I kind of want to take the PC because it's got all the Snapsoft stuff on it, or I can
Yeah.
try to port it over to one of my laptops. So,
I was going to
um,
say you're going to be able to work on that or
yep,
run it while you're at the door. Okay.
yep. And I know it almost sounds like it'll be like really hard for me to do that, but I'm used to that actually. Because the whole time I was running that gaming community, I was going to school and working. Um, and to me, it was easy work because I enjoy it.
Right.
Um, like I said, I like being behind my computer, so it's a win.
Yeah.
And I'm already going to be behind it. That's one of the big things I like to say. I'm already behind my computer every day, so
Hmm.
why not be productive in some way while I'm behind it? And
Right. For sure.
that's where it started. And man, but then Instagram shadow banned me, and I got mad. So app was
Now,
created.
there you go. Yes. I love it.
um, so I was like, you know what? I'm gonna build an app that has a similar Instagram UI and Instagram feel to it because why not? Middle finger to them for shadow banning.
Exactly.
And it's instead I was just on with Death Row actually last weekend, and we were joking about making the TOS guns have to be in the pictures.
Yeah, for real.
And I was like, you know what? I kind of like that. It has to be airsoft related. Put a gun in the picture. Make it spicy.
Hmm.
um, because we get banned everywhere else when we do it, but my app, no.
Right.
That's what I
Exactly.
want to. That's what I want to see on the app.
You know what's cool too is the airsoft community is it's a large community but small at the
Yeah.
same time. Like it's a
Yep.
niche thing, and but once this thing gets released, once this thing takes off, you're not really competing with Instagram. You're not competing with
Nope.
these. You don't have to,
Yep.
because airsofters are gonna we just do our own thing anyway. Like
Right.
we're already in this like thing that nobody's heard of, right?
Yep.
Like the general public has never really heard of. So it's already like gonna be kind of fit right in, basically.
Right. Yep. It'll
Yeah,
slip right in there, and it's built for airsofters, so
exactly.
um, it's a place where you don't have to worry about that TOS that's just gonna randomly show up and be like, "Hey, guess what? You don't get to be on our content anymore." And it's like nobody can see you anymore. You're not there anymore. Goodbye.
Yeah.
Um, so it's I find it funny because actually my biggest platform is Instagram right now.
Yeah.
So while I'm developing this app, I'm posting all of my updates on
Yep.
Instagram.
I saw that.
And I'm like, you know what? I like that I'm doing this because it's just like a hey, guess what? This is what happens when you kick people off your app.
For real.
So I was like, I'm just gonna keep posting it on there, and my platform's there, and I'm just watching that. Since I've started, I've seen a bigger support from the airsoft community hopping on my page.
Yeah.
And it's really cool to watch because I've gotten people like Airsoft Dad, um, Scott, because I know there's multiple.
Yeah, I saw I saw his icon on the
Yeah.
page. Yeah.
Yep. He actually just dropped a really big donation onto the page.
Nice.
That will be more than likely going into geolocation on the app. So
Awesome.
instead of I'm gonna search by a state and hope for the best, it'll actually be I can go on the app and all the things I want to see, I can filter it by location instead.
Nice.
So if I'm like I'm in Michigan and then I go to an event or I just go to Tennessee for shits and giggles, I can go there and be like, well, is there any fields near me? And boom, it'll show up all the fields in Tennessee near my location.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to get that ready. I just released an update yesterday that added in fields and stuff like that. Trying to get that sorted. I try to add YouTube videos to it. The YouTube video shows up, but it doesn't play, which is kind of disappointing.
Okay.
It's an integration, so I'm gonna have to try to find a new one because it seems like that one doesn't want to work.
Yeah.
So right now I had to remove that from the next update until I can figure it out. But I'm already working on another update as soon as I release one, which is crazy to me because although I've learned a lot of stuff through coding for just games and playing with Discord and honestly just playing around. That's honestly what I've been doing. And I was like, I'm gonna go on an app and play around. And playing around has gotten me this far. So
right.
I never really thought I would ever develop an app though. It's been that thing where it's just like I think I got angry and I get stubborn when I'm angry.
Yeah.
So
you get motivated, man.
Yep, I motivate myself as I get angry, and I've noticed that usually when I'm kind of pissed off about something, I get motivated by it, and it's pushed me into developing this app, developing teams, things like that. Like when my team failed, the original team I had, like the Milsim that didn't go so well.
Yeah.
I learned from that experience, and then I found myself kind of mad about the fact that it failed. So I created another thing, and now it works. Right. So it's been a really big change for me to kind of watch that happen.
Yeah.
Might be anger issues. They seemingly are.
I mean, that's how. Anger's a good motivator. It really is. Yeah.
Yep. It might be anger issues, but those anger issues are turning into positive outcomes.
Yeah,
so
bring some positive, right? Exactly.
Because I'm not like the type of person to get angry about something and just blow up on somebody about it. Usually, if I get angry, I get motivated. So that I take that anger and put it into something else, and Snapsoft is real now. So
right. No shit, dude. Yeah. So what's the what are all the features you're thinking of it having right now? Just
so I have a lot on the list. Matter of fact, I'm gonna open that list because it just keeps growing.
Yeah.
So I've got a lot of stuff. Like I don't know if you saw that one post probably a while back. It was like a picture of a note block, and it had like a bunch of yellow circles for things I had finished and a bunch of ones that I hadn't finished yet.
Yep.
That list I had said was like it keeps growing as I build the app. And I went back and looked at that photo, and I was like, it's crazy because I've already rebuilt the app already
Yeah.
from scratch. I had released that first edition, and I was like, I kind of don't like it. I feel like it's clunky looking. It had Instagram looks to it, but it was to me it was clunky. I didn't like it, and I was like, I'm gonna change it again. I'm gonna change the whole UI. I'm gonna make it personal.
Wow.
Um, and now it looks kind of like Facebook and Instagram smashed together, which I think is even more funny
Right.
because Facebook owns Instagram. So
Exactly.
um, I'm like, it's perfect. It's that anger that's still motivating me because it's that little fire that just keeps growing. Um, and that list, when I went back and looked at it, I was like, this is all this basic to me. Like all the stuff that I didn't finish, it's almost elementary. Um, because now I'm looking at the list and I'm like, this is stuff I'm actually looking at doing, and it's different to me. I'm like looking at the stuff and I'm like, this is stuff that's probably outside of my comfort zone, and I'm going to attack it. Um, and I'm gonna make it work.
Right.
um, but I'm looking down at like the stuff I have finished, and it's cool to see it because I scroll down and I'm like, those yellow boxes just keep getting clicked, and then I look at the ones above it and I'm like, that one just keeps growing, which is a good thing because the more
Yeah.
it grows, the more the app will see.
Right.
Um, so I'm in conversations now where I'm talking with even SS Airsoft. Um,
Right.
and I think that's amazing because it's
Hmm.
still that thing where I'm like, not even a month ago, literally not even a month ago, this app wasn't even a thought.
Yeah.
Um, and January, I think it was January 29th or January 30th, I was like really angry about the fact that I got shadow banned. And I'm like, I'm gonna build an app. I remember going in, like talking to somebody. I think it was Dakota. I remember going, I'm building an app as we speak. I
Yeah.
was like, I'm not happy, so I'm building an app.
No shit.
Um, and since that day, it's just been an ongoing thing. Like, I get home from work, I'm right back to work.
Yeah. For
um,
sure, man.
Jumping on it, and I decided to go with a different approach. I kind of decided to cut out the middleman with the coding. I was like, I'm gonna look for something where I can build the app without having to do a bunch of code work. I'm gonna do programming instead. Because
Oh yeah.
programming to me is easier than coding. Because coding, you got to set up everything,
Mm.
and you can't really see it work until you run it. And it's with programming, you can see it work the moment you're done with it. Like
Yeah.
it's super easy. Um, it's like pushing buttons all day.
Hmm.
At the end of the day, as
Yeah.
long as you have some sort of database in the background, it'll read that database and create things based on that.
Right.
Like whenever somebody joins, it creates a new database for their profile, and it logs everything they do. So I can go back and be like, okay, this person posted, and it posted at this time, and this is the 70th post on the app,
Yeah.
stuff like that. Um, I can read them, and it allows me to do it from the back end, which I think is awesome with the one I went through because I can I can sit back, and I'm sure you've seen it on all of my updates. It's that phone. It's got that like image of a phone, so you can see the app as
Right.
you're developing it on a phone, and I can choose
Gotcha.
what phone that emulator is.
Okay.
It could look like a Google phone, so I can see what it looks like on Google.
Hmm.
So although I don't have Google's test out yet, um, I can see what Google is going to look like ahead of time,
Gotcha.
which is super helpful because
Right.
I have no idea what this app could look like in the future.
Yeah.
Um, so I'm working on it. I'm working on it, and I'm able to test it with that phone screen. Like I can go in and actually click on buttons. I can type things, and what I'm seeing is kind of cool because I found out that I can actually message people through that, even though it's leaps and jumps ahead of everybody else because it's got whatever I'm doing on it.
Right.
But like the app on test flight is only what I released. So right now it's on update 109, but technically I'm on update 110. So it's kind of funny to think about that because I'm on an update nobody else has.
Right.
I'm like, I'm cool. I got that update nobody can see. But I like to tease it too because I'm like, I want to keep that interest in the app.
Sure.
It's something I want to see more people flock to
Yeah.
because it really is going to, as most people say, it's going to be the airsoft Instagram for airsoft, because it's going to be a place where you can post. It's going to be a place where you can message people. And what I've done is this is where it becomes unique and different from the platforms we're on. You can set up your team on there. You can set up your field on there if you're a field owner. You can set up events on the app if you're an event coordinator. All of it's on there, so it's all centrally located instead of, oh, I got to go to this app to figure out when this event is, or I got to go over here to figure out when this is. It's
Yeah.
all there, and it's all visible and able to be seen. And I find that really great because the more things in airsoft that we can get on one platform,
Yeah.
and all of us can see it, it's something, instead of, like I said, you got to go to all these different places to do things. It's all in one spot.
Yeah.
And you want to be like that because, I mean, I don't know about you, but I don't like having to click around everywhere.
No.
I'd,
No.
I'd rather
One-stop
just
shop.
exactly one-stop shop. It's just like, I mean, make comparison to Amazon. I mean, when you're shopping for something, you don't want to have to go, oh, I need to go over here if I want
Yep.
this for airsoft. I got to go over here. Or like e-bike, for instance.
Right.
E-bike, if you want airsoft gear, you go to e-bike.
Yep.
Or you can go on Amazon like I do a lot of the time and buy a bunch of cheaper gear.
Right.
Because I have Prime and I know it'll get there in 2 days.
Yes, that's a good, for sure. That's an important thing, especially if you're gearing up for an event, and you forgot something. You're like, oh shit.
Yeah,
but I
you
know
want
it'll
it there
be here in 2 days.
Right? I want to hear now. So yeah, it's just like that. I want to keep the app, where it's centrally located. So right now, I'm actually working on trying to get podcasts on the app. Like,
cool.
I've found a integration where I might be able to integrate Apple Podcast and a couple other platforms for podcasts like River, and trying to put that in there. I tried testing it once. It wouldn't play the video, and I got frustrated, so I deleted it again. But it is trying to get there. So once I get it there, it should be proper. But I had to remove it from 109. It was actually going to be in 109, but I had to remove it because, like I said, I got frustrated with the fact that it wouldn't play, and I was like, "Yep, we're gonna delete that." So there is a button for podcasts, so I'm already trying to get that up there.
Oh, cool. Well, I was really surprised when you messaged me, because like I said, when I saw your post and I donated, and it wasn't a lot, I didn't donate a lot. It was just, I was like, dude, I really like what he's doing. I support this. And I didn't expect anything in return. That was just, hey, I'm not asking to be on here. It was just, hey, I just want you to know I appreciate what you're doing. And you reached out to me like, hey, would you like your logo to be on the front page or whatever? I was like, yeah, like I didn't do it for that, but hell yeah, that'd be cool shit.
Yep. So your logo, Death Row, Airsoft Dad, you guys are all on that right now. And I've created a donator.
They did the same thing. They reached out, or I mean, they just donated and you put them on there.
Yep. And there's now a section within the app for donators.
Yeah.
And your guys' logos are actually on that page.
Awesome.
And the top donators.
Was that the first one on there?
Yeah. I slipped you up there.
Woo!
I was like,
Yes.
I'm gonna do it in the order they donated, so I was putting them up there.
Oh, that's
Um,
awesome.
and that page is now there, and the front page is now for like the monthly monthly, the one who's paying off
Hmm.
the monthly fee. So
Yeah.
they're gonna be up on the front, and then there's a donator page that has um, everybody who's donated,
Yeah.
and anybody who's donated early. I'm trying to make like these little rolls, kind of like how you see on Discord. There's the little rolls. I'm trying to make those to where they're on everybody's profile, so I can
Oh,
add,
nice.
like if they were part of the test team, they're gonna
Right.
have one of those, or if they were an early donator or early supporter, they'll
Yeah.
have a role like that.
Like
So
a founders program thing or whatever.
exactly, like you're a
Uh-huh.
founder of the app, you were there
Yeah.
when it started.
Hmm.
So obviously you would have those kind of roles.
That's cool.
So I'm trying to put that. It might be towards the end, right before I release it. My
Hmm.
goal is to try to have this app released by late May at the very latest. But I'm
Gotcha.
at the rate it's going so far. I think I could probably have it out by April. So
Dude,
um,
that is quick.
yeah, it's moving, and the way I see it is like it's crazy because looking at an app, I'm like this. I feel like people have taken over a year to actually get their app where they want it. But
Yeah.
I've seen some mistakes where people have dropped an app too early without fully testing it.
Ah.
And I get a lot of these PMs now where it's like, when's the app coming out? When's the app coming out? And I'm
Hmm.
like, I know everybody's excited, but I gotta finish it because I want to make it polished. I don't want anybody to,
Sure.
download the app and be like, oh, this is crap.
Oh yeah,
Like,
you got one time to make a good first impression.
yep,
Yeah, and so if it's released and you have too many issues to where you're playing catch up all the time and it doesn't get fixed quick enough, then you'll start, there's a time limit there. Like you're on a
yep,
timer. Like how quickly can I get this fixed before people start leaving with a bad taste in their mouth and they're not going to come back, you know?
exactly, yep.
Uh-huh.
So it's
Gotcha.
it's it's like that, and sometimes I have to upgrade the background because I'll get too excited and add a bunch of features that make it fill up the database too quickly.
Yeah.
But I'm looking at it like the only thing that's really doing that is if I overdo a page, which I've learned not to do that, and
Hmm.
it's running a lot smoother. I figured that out in the first build. So like the first build was kind of like for me, it was my test. It
Yeah.
was how far can I get with just goofing around with the app.
Hmm.
Um, and now I'm on my second build where I've got plenty of databases. The only thing right now that I'm really trying to work on is moderation. I want to get it in there, in case somebody's posting something that really shouldn't be on the app. Um,
Right.
don't want any content that doesn't belong there.
Well, yeah, there's definitely like two basics, right? The
Right,
porn and
right,
killing somebody. It's
right,
shit like that, like the extreme stuff. There
right.
has to be something built in that rejects those kind of things.
Yep. So it's
Hmm.
that one right now has been something I've been trying to work on, and that one's kind of been giving me its fight. I guess it's trying to
Yeah.
be as stubborn as I am. So I
Well,
guess
I
that
imagine
means
that's a lot of work, right?
yeah,
I would imagine.
that one I feel like is going to require a lot more databases than I've been looking at. Like I think I
Gotcha.
have a total of I want to say 9 databases right now in the app that
Okay.
track things like your teams, your fields, stuff
Hmm.
like that. So like when a user enters the app, it logs them in, and it's like what fields do they belong to, what team do they belong to, and
Yeah.
when you log in, like you see like a couple text boxes you got to fill out, and that's it. But on my end, the database is like, this is user 7. They joined on this date. They
Yeah.
posted on this date. They did this. They did this. They did this. Like anytime they
Hmm.
do something, it logs it, and it's so I know, you
It
know,
has to. Yeah.
yep. If they run into an error or something like that, I can go in the database and be like, this is where things went wrong.
Right.
Because at one point I was posting on the app and none of the posts would show up. And I'm like, why aren't the posts showing up? And I got angry. I looked at the database. All my posts are in the database. I'm like, so it's logging I'm posting, but it's not posting.
Huh.
I'm like, how does that work?
Yeah.
So I'm like going in and I'm getting frustrated. I'm moving things around. Um, and I found out that the way it was set up, it was filtering content of people I'm following. Well, I'm not following myself, so
Oh
that
shit.
doesn't make any sense. And I'm
So it
like,
was posting.
that's why. Yeah, it's posting, but
Uh-huh.
only to people that are I'm following.
Oh, that's
Uh,
funny.
and I'm like, I'm not following myself, so I can't see my own post right now.
Yep.
And that's what the home page is doing right now. It only tracks
Gotcha.
people you follow. But the
Okay.
explore page, which is like a separate page, it's like it's like your for you page almost.
Yeah.
Um, you're gonna get on there, and it's gonna be just everybody's posts. And you're going in there, and you can see your posts in there. But I'm
Gotcha.
like, I need to find a way where I can get the home page to follow or see my posts, but also see everybody I'm following.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, I'm trying to find a way to where the database will track that you are following yourself,
Yeah.
but it doesn't appear that you're following you. That way,
Right.
your follower account isn't adjusted by one ghostly
Mm.
number, because that's what the old app had. It had a one ghostly number.
Oh
Um,
shit.
you also couldn't see your own followers, which was kind of irritating.
Okay.
I forgot to add that. And this
Yeah.
app, this build. Not only can you see your followers, but you can remove them.
Yeah.
Just like Instagram, where you got that one dude that you really don't want following your content. Boom, he's
Yeah.
gone.
Right.
Um, you know, so a lot of the framework for the app I've got there. Um,
Yeah. That's good.
you know, I've got all those special details like I said, you got teams, you got your fields, you got your events, and you can post on those.
Okay.
And those are working pretty well. Like I think I had an issue in 108 that was kind of funny. I forgot to um, make the edit for the events, or I think it was the events. Yeah, it was events. I forgot to make it to where the edit was editing, not creating. So my edit page was doing the same thing as create event.
Oh
And
shit.
whenever somebody would go in to edit their event, it wouldn't do anything to the event because it was trying to create another one, but
Oh
it
my
can't create
god.
another one because there's already one there. So it was kind of funny. It would pull in all the old information, but
Yeah.
when you would hit the bottom button, it would say create event for some reason. The people would click it and nothing would happen. And I'm
Oh.
like, oh, I goofed that one up because I'm like, I went back to it and I looked at it and I was like, the submit button says create event. I'm like, yep, I already see where it went wrong.
Oh my
And
god.
I was like, I just got to switch. It was funny too because it's a drop down menu in that screen. I literally
Gotcha.
just, I literally just hit drop down menu and it switches to update, and
Mm.
just like that, it's fixed.
Yeah.
So that
Well,
works
see,
now.
these are little things that most people would never realize what goes
Mhm.
into creating something like this. We're so used to just pressing a pressing the screen, tapping
Nope.
something on the screen, and just tap and go. Like we don't ever think about the back end of how these things, work or whatever and why it's doing it. I remember with I don't know a lot about running, PCs and running stuff. I've worked on them. I built my own for years since the mid
Like
'90s.
you're
But
ahead of me on that one. I barely know what's in my PC half of the time.
I was more mechanically inclined, so I was more of the hands-on like hardware
Right.
stuff, and a lot of my friends were more of the programmers stuff, whatever. And but I could be, helpful. I'm like tech support for my family, right? Like my
Right.
mom, my sisters, my wife or whatever. And so like with my wife, she would like, I don't know what's wrong with them. Well, what did you do? Well, I just
Mhm.
went on the internet. No, no, no. What did you click on? Like, let's get specific here.
You had to
Because
have done something
I was
along the
talking to
way.
my mom, the first time, and years and years ago, and she's like, her idea of the internet was her home, or her desktop. So when she'd pull up when the computer turns on, that little background she has that's like butterflies and shit that she just downloaded. Okay,
Hmm.
that's malware. She's like, I don't know why my computer's doing this now. It's like, it's all slow and it won't do this. And I'm like, what did you do recently? Well, and as I'm talking with her, she's like, I'm on the internet right now. I'm like, what are you looking at? And I'm in South Carolina. She's in Ohio. So
Right.
we're like, so I forget what the name of the app was, this program that I was able to, she downloaded it, I downloaded it, and then it's a real basic, real simple thing where I could take over her mouse, and then see her screen.
Yep.
It gives me it gives her a prompt, and she'd have to read the number or something like that, or okay
Yep.
it.
Yep. I've
And
seen it.
yeah. So finally, I was able to do that, and I was just like, "Hey, let's go on this thing." And then I didn't have to ask her because she would be like, "I'm on the internet right now," but it was really just her desktop with all the butterflies in there. I'm like, "Oh, you just downloaded this. Oh, we're getting rid of this thing. Oh, I want the butterflies." I'm like, Do you want your computer fixed, or do you want the butterflies?" Oh, I
Oh,
mean, can I have both? Nope.
it's one or the other.
So,
We'll
but
find you some
anyway.
butterflies.
But yeah, most people don't know like some of these, the in-depth detail that has to go into coding and
Oh yeah.
programming to make all these little buttons that we tap work.
Oh yeah. It's crazy because even things like they call them modals.
Mm.
You ever seen that like little box that'll come up on your screen after you hit a button? It's like very tiny. Um, Usually, it will give you like a couple options. Um,
Is this on
Connects
like Instagram?
on anything really. Like
Mm.
okay, trying to see an example. You ever try to report somebody on an app?
Huh.
Okay, that one's not gonna be a good example then.
I mean,
uh,
I see the option. Like if you click on somebody's post or profile, or you click the three little dots or something.
yep. Usually, after you do something like that, a little box will show up and to, like ask you why you're reporting the user or something like
Oh,
that.
okay. Oh, wait, yeah, I
Um,
have actually. I have reported because I started like just a couple months ago on my Instagram feed on the stories. I started
mhm.
getting mentioned, right? By
Oh,
some by some kind
I
of
hate that.
weird,
I get it
like,
too.
it looks like Russian writing or some kind of, foreign language writing that is it's some weird ass, I don't even know what the hell the post is about because I can't
Right.
read it.
Yeah.
But
Exactly.
maybe it's, yeah, and so I will report those. So yeah, I'll click on the little or the three buttons, three dots, do the report, and then it asks why I'm reporting, and I just say it's spam or whatever.
Yep. Yep.
Okay.
So you get like a little box that'll ask you why, and it's just like that. So I've been
Mm,
installing those now,
okay.
and it's you know when you do it on Instagram and you just clicking around kind of thing, it's like
Yeah.
yeah, I mean it's functional. You get on Instagram, it's nobody like you said, nobody really knows what the back end of that actually looks
Hmm.
like. There are so many things beyond that. You click that one little icon for reporting, that opens up a whole new page actually,
Right.
um, and it doesn't look like it did because it you can still kind of see your background,
Hmm.
uh, like who you just reported or something like that.
Yep.
Um, and that's what a modal looks like. You can still see your background as you're doing it.
Okay.
Um, but there's options of
Mm.
like what you want to do. Like right now, I think I teased it yesterday. It's got like this little box that shows like going to events or looking at fields. Like it says like what do you want to explore on it. I think it's on my story still, but it says like what do you want to explore?
I
And
did see that actually. Yeah, I saw that
yep,
post. Hmm.
that's a modal.
Oh, okay.
It's like a little box that shows up and gives you some options, but
Yeah.
each one of the buttons on that little box also goes somewhere else. So
Mm.
you technically open up a page to open up another page,
Yep.
but the way you see it is I hit a button and I hit another button
Hmm. Very
and now
simple.
I'm here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot
So
going on in the back. I remember somebody explaining. Well, I was at a business meeting one time years ago, and this guy said, you want to, as a business owner, you're always going to be working. Basically, you're always going to be, because it's like your passion or what you're doing. So on the outside, to other people watching you or looking at you, when you're out somewhere, or, family or whatever, you're going to look like he compared it to a duck, the duck on the water, right?
Oh
And
yeah.
this has been compared in business books and stuff before, but he's like, you don't see what's going on underneath on the top. The duck is just very, just floating along, smoothly going across the top of the water. But underneath, that dude's feet are going crazy, right? They're just paddling, paddling, paddling,
Right.
paddling, and that's kind of what programming is like. You're what we see on the end, user end, I guess, is that duck on top of the water. Everything's working smooth, but on the back end, behind these button clicks, is a
Yep.
ton of information that's going on.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Like when you open up that little text box, it's like it's just a simple link that takes you to another screen,
Yeah.
and you get on that screen, it's new options.
Mm-hmm.
For instance, like if you go to the events screen per se, when you go to create an event, it takes you to another page, and you're going to enter all this information, and then when you hit that create button, it creates a whole new thing
Yeah.
onto the app, like something that wasn't there before, and it's going to generate that, and
Right.
it's going to put everything that you said you wanted it to say into the little boxes that I have put in on
Mm-hmm.
the screen where it's going to be.
Yeah.
So you log, or like for instance, you see on my teasers, like there's text boxes for whenever you create a team or something like that. It says like the team's name and all that. But
Yeah.
it's like, well, how did that get there? Because it's not like I just manually put your team on there. Um, no, instead it's you filled out all this information, and as you're filling out all that information, you hit create. The database writes in all this information, and all the boxes that I've set up. As you're typing that in, it's filling in that information in that text box.
Yeah.
So it's like your team title, like your team's name. The moment you write that in, the database is already tracking. Okay, this team's name is Beans,
Mm-hmm. Right.
and Beans likes to talk about beans in their Discord. uh, so Beans is now a team on Snapsoft, and boom, now when they go to see that event, they can click on Beams and they open it up, and guess what? Beams has a website, and when you click that link, boom, it'll take you to their site, like a whole different location. It'll take you to their site.
Yeah.
Um, and there's also um, if they don't have those links, I have it set up to where, let's say hypothetically, they have a Discord, but they don't have Facebook, Instagram, or a website. Only the Discord one will show up as long as they put the Discord link in the Discord box.
Right.
So it's pretty cool because I think it'll help teams grow. I
Mm-hmm.
think it'll help events grow because the website's on there too,
For sure.
and they can put all this information in. As if it says link though, I gotta stress that enough. You can't just write like words.
Yeah. No kidding.
It doesn't like that. I found out.
Uh-huh.
I it tracks most things, but not everything.
Yeah.
So, um, and the only error I'm finding right now is if that it's not a link, it doesn't register that it's not a link. So when you go
Mm.
to put out that thing, that box is going to show up, but when people click it, nothing's going to happen.
Right.
Um, so that's a minor issue on my, at least in my mind.
Mm-hmm.
It is an issue, but I see it as still minor because I would say it's kind of common sense to put a link in there.
Right.
Go find your
You'd
URL
think.
and put it in there. Yeah. But that's what I'm thinking. I always think about that. I've had friends tell me they're like, well, "Why are you doing it like that? Like, why are you still working on it? I thought you said it works." And I'm like, "Because it's gotta be.
for a
you know,
5-year-old.
yeah, it's got to be foolproof.
For real.
Like,
Like, dude, there's some people just don't. Well,
yeah,
and not even the person. Like, maybe they're tired as fuck. They're
yeah,
just maybe they just woke up and they're clicking around and they want to. Oh yeah, I'll go ahead and create this thing, or I'll go ahead and do this.
mhm,
Add this to my profile, and they're not really paying attention. They're just kind of
yep.
mindlessly doing it while they're sitting on the toilet, and and
Hey,
it's
that's
like,
the time when you're most productive. Okay.
for sure, man. Yeah, when before cell phones, right? The time to go to the bathroom, right? Sit down on the bathroom in the bathroom was way shorter. Now,
hmm Now we're in
and
there for hours.
your legs would go numb after like 5 minutes, Like, holy cow, I've been sitting here forever. Now people are sitting there like fucking 30 minutes. Their legs aren't even numb yet. Like,
Right? It's like,
oh my God, it's funny.
are you even done in there?
Oh, I've been done for 30 minutes, bro.
I've just been
Holy
watching
shit.
TikTok.
For real. Now let me
Yeah.
ask you this: on the for the app thing,
Mhm.
when it's done, how like what's the process of getting it out there? For like, where can people go to get it? Do you have to list it? Are you restricted to listing it just on like one of these Google Play stores or Apple thing or whatever? Like, or can you do it from your own website? Like, what kind of process is that?
I could do a website launch.
Hmm.
I have the option to do website launches. I do have my developer IDs though, so I have the ability to also post it onto Google Play Store and App Store.
Okay,
And that's where it will launch first.
gotcha.
At the moment, I'm getting ready to make a website for the app. That way, I can post like the TOS into it.
Yeah,
Because right now that TOS is linked to a uh, Google Doc, which is nowhere near professional.
I gotcha.
um, but I was like, I just need it in there so um, Apple's like, okay, they have something.
Yeah,
And I was like, because they won't even let me release a test flight unless there's something there.
gotcha.
So I was like, I have to have some sort of privacy agreement or something like that
Hmm.
visible to people using the app. And so right now it's linked to a Google Doc because right now it's in testing, and that's not my worry. I want to make sure the app works first.
Right.
Um,
Well,
because
on listing it, are you concerned? Is there any concern, I guess, for where it would be rejected? Because don't you have to get approved on the app stores?
yeah. My
Is there any
first
concern for that?
my first build actually was accepted because I can actually see if it would get accepted or not.
Oh,
I put the build in.
yeah, yeah,
As I'm testing it, I'll upload the new build to the app,
yeah.
and they'll let me know if it gets rejected or not
Okay.
while it's there. And a lot of the time, the only reason it gets rejected, like I had one build get rejected already, is because it's not tested.
The
Um,
functional part, but not the
yeah.
content part. See, I was thinking like, how in the past few years, well, obviously why you started building the app and this whole cancel culture thing with the gun community and everything. What if that would be a concern where it
Oh.
wouldn't be available because they're gonna, because they're shadow banning people, maybe they're not gonna allow these kind of apps to even be on their platform to be downloaded,
Right. From what I'm actually seeing, it seems like they won't be doing any of that.
Okay.
Because you can have your own apps on there, and obviously there's already apps for gun owners and stuff like that
Yeah.
on app stores and stuff like that
Okay.
already. Um, I guess what I would say is my only worry right now would be Google because I haven't actually looked into it yet.
Yeah.
But as far as I know, Google's the exact same way as Apple. As long as you have your own developer license,
Yeah.
they can't really say anything, or else they're gonna refund your. They're gonna have to refund you your license because
Okay.
exactly. I mean, like you formed an agreement with them when you bought your license.
Hmm.
Um,
Now, does it
so
cost? Is there a cost to adding an app to their store?
um, only your license.
Oh, just
So
license. Okay.
With Apple, it's $100 a year.
Yeah.
Which, holy cow, is that expensive for a license?
Yeah.
Because I'm looking at Google and it's only a quarter of that price.
Yeah. Yep.
It's $25 and you only play it once. Whereas Apple, I got to pay it $100 every year. So it's,
Typical.
Yeah,
Typical
typical Apple
stuff.
Yeah.
It really is. It really is.
So that's why a lot of my work right now is being done on Apple because I've already bought that ID. I'm on Apple myself, so I can test the app as well.
Gotcha.
Because I don't have any Google phones, so I can't really test the app on Google without that. So I'm waiting to relaunch that one because I do have a friend who has a Google phone that I can borrow his phone when it comes to that.
Well, when you need testers for the Android, iOS, I'll definitely be down for something like that.
Oh yeah, I'm still trying to figure out what their test flight looks like because I know Apple has an app called Test Flight, but I don't know what Google has. So I'm about to find out later on here because I think I'm getting ready to put that on launch. I just have to get my ID and I want to get my Google API key for geolocation.
Yeah.
But that one's a big one. Having that is a massive cost on the app. That's the API key itself is $300 just to have Google Maps on the app. Wow. And I'm like that is ridiculous.
That's crazy.
It's maps at the end of the day.
Right.
I was like, come on, man.
Dude, they got to pay for all those self-driving cars with those spinning cameras on top. Okay.
Yeah, I got to fund their electric self-driving car.
For real.
So yeah, that's been the one goal to get that Google location or geolocation set up in there. But right now I'm working on let's get all the functions added and then I can go back and add geolocation. Gotcha. So right now I'm really working on seeing if I can get videos to work, like allow people to post videos because right now it's just pictures and I'm like eventually pictures get old. So I want to get videos in and that's what I'm working on. Trying to work on podcasts, so this next update probably is going to take longer than I want it to. Yeah. But this is going to be the big update. So this is the one where the app is finally getting on its feet and getting ready to actually appear in an app store.
Right.
So I don't have to keep sending people codes to come look at it. Yeah. Because oh my gosh, that Apple is not convenient when it comes to putting people on test flight.
That's what I've heard.
Yeah, I have to add them to a team first, which sends them one email, and they have to accept that email. And then after they do that, I got to send them another email now that they're on the team to go test the build. I'm like, come on, Apple, just let me add people. One email. I don't want to have to keep sending emails.
See, and when somebody so when you're talking like that, a lot of people that don't know, they don't think, they're just like, well, what's the big deal? You just got to send one more email. No. You're sending out. I'm not just dealing with one person. Yeah. Like I'm sending that by whatever 10, 100, 1,000. Then you're talking about X amount of hours of work, where it would have just been 5 minutes times that by 100. Like bro, that's time.
And I have to type in each one of their emails. So when I put out, is anyone going to come test this one on my Instagram? I had I think 12 people jump into my DMs to come test the app. And I was like, all right, you got to send me your email and it needs to be the email connected to your iCloud. Because I figured that out after the first few people I added. If it's not connected to their iCloud account, it doesn't work. Oh my God. I'm like, that's great. I was like, so they're going to get halfway there. And then I'm going to find out that they can't receive a code because it has nothing to do with their Apple ID. Good. And I'm like, why? Apple, just be convenient for once.
No, dude, that's not in their description, okay?
Right. So I'm like, they hype up user friendliness, but if you're a developer, it is not user friendly.
I don't
It
think it's
is.
user friendly at all. My wife just
Mm-mm.
got it. Me and my two of my sons are the only ones in our family that have Android phones,
Right.
and everybody else have Apple phones. And when they switch over, like this newest one,
Mm.
switched over from an older version to a newer one, and then my daughter-in-law as well. They both had there was a bunch of bugs
Oh
that
yeah.
that happened. That were common issues. It's like the contacts didn't switch over.
Oh.
She had to manually go in and do a bunch of stuff, and then finally it was just a big clusterfuck. I got a new phone. I got the S22
Mhm.
and from the 21, and I sign into my Google account. Everything's done. I'm done. Like it took me 5 minutes. It took her 2 days. My daughter-in-law, same thing. It was like and then the iTunes thing wouldn't play. It was a fucking clusterfuck, bro. I was like, dude,
Yeah.
y'all talk so much about these phones, and I'm over
Mm-mm.
them because I've helped my wife, with hers and stuff in the past, and I'm just like, dude, this is no, thank you,
Right.
no, thank you.
Right. And I log into my phone every time I get a new one, and you have to log into every little thing again. It's like,
Uh,
oh yeah, it would be great if I could just log in with one email and it would log into everything
yes,
right where I left off, instead of,
right,
oh, let me log into this. Oh yeah, now I got to open up this page again. And it's like
yeah,
I was just researching something on Safari. Now I got to open that again. It's
yeah,
like I don't remember the website name. It's like there's all these issues. Like, just it would be nice if they could just update it to where
yeah,
log in with one email, everything you were just doing on your phone before you switched is there again, just like you picked up right where you left off. Like, for instance, you log into a new computer, same thing. You
yeah.
log in, everything's there already.
All my shit, bro.
Yep.
I open up my browser wherever I'm at.
Hmm.
All of my saved bookmarks, all of my
Yep.
everything,
It's
my
all there.
history, where I've gone. If I didn't clear it out, bro, it's fucking awesome. Yeah,
Yep. And my family, a lot of us, they really like Apple. Like
yeah,
really like it. They all have Macs. They all are on iPhone.
yeah.
Um, I like some of my Apple stuff, but I don't always like it. Like, I can't play games on any of my Apple stuff.
No.
That's already a downside for me right there. So I got a Windows PC.
You
um,
can play Candy Crush, okay? Damn it.
so and now I've got my Windows PC, and like you are, I'm like the tech guru of our family. So
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure.
somebody, I'm even the Wi-Fi. Like, every household has when they have the password holder. I'm the
Yeah.
password holder.
Oh, yeah.
So I might not, always know the password, but I'm usually the one that's got it somewhere. I'm usually the one that's
Yeah.
logged into it the longest, or um, you
Yeah,
know,
I pay for this app called Keeper Security,
Mhm.
and for all my password stuff. It's really convenient. I'm sure there's a handful of them, that type of thing out there, but I do it. I did, for my kids. I did it for, added my stuff in for my wife whenever but the problem is she wouldn't ask if she would forget. She wouldn't ask me. She would just go, forgot password, and then change it. And
Ah,
then later on, she'd ask me, "Hey, what was this?" Where she needed to go back in. And I'm like,
and
"Well,
you
it's
go
this
in
right
and
here." She's like,
yeah.
"Oh no, wait, I think I changed it." I'm like, "God, I told you to tell me with you." Like, what the hell? Oh yeah,
Oh,
it's funny.
I do that to myself a lot too. I'll change passwords on the fly. Like, if I can't remember it,
Gotcha.
I'll just say forgot password and change it. And then months later down the road, I'm like, I forgot the password again. Like, I think I did that
Yeah,
to one of my PayPal's by accident, because I have, like, I think 3 or 4 of them.
yeah,
Sometimes I'll send money between them, but uh, I had one I went to go log into,
yeah.
and I couldn't remember the password to it anymore. And I was like, great, now I gotta go through the whole process of
Uh
changing the
huh.
password. I gotta go to that email. I think that's my least favorite thing about changing password, when you have to go to your email. And I'm like, I don't usually go to my email that often.
I'm hearing a trend here. This email thing, like you got to send an email to this person twice, and then you
Hmm.
got to check your emails. You don't like email.
I'm not a big fan of it. No.
I
Like
guess it's because there's like 10 billion spams of email that you have to scroll, dude.
no, yeah. I
And
I'm at the point where I stopped deleting them
yeah, I
because
did too.
I have a lot of friends that are like, why is your email so loaded with emails? I was like, because why would I delete them? They're just gonna fill up again.
Bro, it fills up in a day. In a
Yeah.
day. Like,
And you log into anything, you get spam because your email went on to something.
yes. It is yeah, and they've gotten smart too. It used to be
Mhm.
in like Outlook or whatever, you can right click it on that email and say junk and then block sender. Well, it doesn't send from it'll be the same email that you get the next day.
Different sender.
Yep. It is insane, bro. And they've gotten smart with these scams too. I got an email from Venmo or some shit like that, right?
Oh no.
It says your transaction was stopped or not approved or whatever. Um, and I don't click on anything ever. Like I tell my wife, I tell my
Mhm.
mom, like, don't ever click on a link in your email if you don't trust, if it's not from someone you know. So just delete it or ask me or whatever. But yeah, they're getting really clever because they're sending these emails out like that, like or a big one now is from either UPS, FedEx, or Amazon. It'll look
Oh
like from
yeah.
Amazon and say, "Oh, your package was trying to be delivered, but it couldn't. We couldn't deliver your package. Click here." And I'm guessing so many people would click on something like that. The number
Hmm.
one thing, I don't know if this is a pro tip or not, but for me, what I do is if I ever question that kind of thing, is I look at the details. I look at the sender's email. So if
Yep.
you look at the sender's email, if it's some weird shit,
Hmm.
shady shit, or something you don't understand, just delete it. Just delete it.
Hmm.
Like for real.
Usually, if it's a real email, it'll end in that company's name.
Exactly.
Yep.
Right.
Like that's what I'm finding out with SS Airsoft because when they emailed me,
Yeah.
I was looking at their information and I was looking at the like their picture, like the profile picture for their email,
Yeah.
and they didn't have one. And I'm
Mm.
like, well, this seems a little sketchy because like most
Mm-hmm.
of the ones that you get with the spam don't have profile pictures. That's how I've
Right.
learned a lot of things. Um, so I clicked into it. I'm looking at the email. It's got the information it's talking about, and I'm like, all right, before I respond, I'm gonna make sure this is real. So I went and clicked on like the CC,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm looking at the names, and I'm seeing that the company's name is on their email. It says SS Airsoft, and I'm like, okay, so that looks real.
Right.
Then I'm looking at the names of the people on the email, and I'm like, I see one that's CC'd, and I'm like, okay, so I'm gonna look up the company, and I did, and I looked up who owns the company. I found out the owner of the company is CC'd on that email. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, now I know this is real.
Right.
And I
Right.
was like, okay, well now I'm freaking out because now I know it's real. Yeah. And I'm like, oh boy.
Yeah.
So I got pretty excited when I saw that email, but
Oh, I'm sure, dude.
I had to make sure it was real. That's how excited I was.
Right.
um,
Well, that's exciting, man, because, like I said, you're doing a thing that's definitely going to be important
mhm.
for the airsoft community.
I'm excited. I'm excited to get it out there because another excited part that I'm ready to get it out there is I won't have that question anymore. When is it coming out?
No,
I'll be
you need
like,
to
guess
filter
what?
all those messages into the spam box.
Yeah, I'll be like, it's out.
Create one of those rules, right? Create one of those rules where if those if then statements, if it's from or not, it doesn't have to be from,
Hmm.
but if it has this content, if it says this in the subject or in the in the content of the email or message or anything like that, then it goes to this folder. You know?
Hey, it sounds like you know a little bit about programming. That's actually
uh,
what programming looks like on this app.
Bro, well, I did the same thing you did. I got pissed off at trying to filter through my emails and looking at all the shit. I was when I was laid up. Once I started getting
Hmm.
my abilities back, I had a lot of time and a lot of just activity in my head. So a lot of energy. But I learned how to do like basics, or
Hmm.
I guess a little more than basics, but like Excel spreadsheets, like how you can connect and put graphs in, all that kind of shit. I was like really interested in all that stuff. I didn't realize how powerful Excel was, like how
Hmm.
many tools it had built in. Same with Discord, same with, all that kind of stuff. So I would learn, but my email, I'm like, how the fuck do I fix this shit? I'm so tired of getting this. So I went in and learned how to do the rules. And so now I have all these different folders that are separated for any kind of business thing that I'm looking at, or any kind of, like a airsoft folder broken down for whatever. Like I just have a lot of different, so those rules really help.
Oh
But
yeah.
programming is, from what I found, and I don't do it, but it was real similar to what I learned back when I first started working in factories with these robots. The
Hmm.
programmable robots we used in these, and I worked in the car
Right.
industry. Um, they, aluminum die casting. A robot arm goes in and grabs the part. Another arm, shoots
Yep.
this sprayer in to cool off the mold, that kind of thing. All those things, every movement has to be programmed. Well, they
Yep.
they use a PLC, and it is all strings. So it's all string, not
Yeah.
string theory, but strings. And it's those are just if-then statements. If this is on,
Hmm.
then this is off. If this is off, then this is on. And
Yep.
it sends you down the different path. And I feel like that's what programming is.
And
Is
it's
just
pretty
the
close.
IO, the on or off.
Yep, it's actually very close to what
Mm,
I do on the app. A lot of it, you'll see a lot of the if this is on, then this is off kind of stuff in there.
yeah,
But obviously, when you're in the app, you don't see that.
right.
Um, so,
Yeah, because
but
it's not easy and fun to look at.
yeah. uh,
It's
so,
functional. Yeah.
right. So, I guess I could also say that some of my programming came from when I was welding because there was a class that I was taking for robotic welding,
Hmm.
and that you they taught us how to program the robot from
Yep.
scratch, like building your own program for it.
Nice.
Um, so when I did that, I was like, this is very similar to when I, was building DayZ servers. So I excelled when I came to, running a robotic welder,
Yeah.
even though I'm not great at math, and the coordinate plane for me
Right.
was very confusing.
Well, see, that's kind of how I felt too with programming. Was I'm really, really my the way my brain works, just my personality type or whatever. I just in normal everyday life, I use the if then statements constantly, all the time.
Hmm.
That's how I think. That's how I think. It's very objective. And so I understand programming and these strings and how I understand that concept. But when it comes to practical application of actually typing out all this code,
Oh
that
yeah.
is where I'm lost. But I understand how it works, um, and why certain things would, be on or off. But it's the basic knowledge of that. But getting into the nitty gritty of all of the programming code, and bro, uh-uh. Like,
Yeah.
why is there a percentage sign here? What the fuck?
Oh yeah. Oh, and they don't like spaces.
No.
Every
Well, there
every
is no
time,
space in
yeah,
coding.
that's the
That's
issue.
why people will tell me their Instagram. They're like, "Oh, it's got this underscore. I don't know why." I
Hmm.
say, because it counts every keystroke.
Yep.
It has to. So you don't have an actual space.
Yep.
That was, only developed when, back in DOS, when they were coming out of DOS, and like Microsoft had the first iteration of Word.
Yeah.
Uh, that's where a space, when you hit the space bar, wasn't. They just put a blank there.
Uh
That's
huh.
nothing, where nothing's there.
There's
But
nothing
in
there.
real coding, you can't have every keystroke is counted as some kind of symbol. It has to be able to be
Right.
tracked. Hmm.
And I don't know if you've ever seen it, but if you click on if you're on just on whatever streaming or not streaming search engine you use,
Yeah.
if you click on the URL, you'll see that it says %20,
Yes.
and that's what that is. That's your space. That
Oh,
%20.
okay.
And I
I
was
didn't know
like,
that.
I've always tried to figure out why it said %20
Uh-huh.
because when I am in my C++, I don't ever see %20. And I'm
Oh.
like, that's not a space. You actually, a lot of the time, um, the coder I use, it's more user friendly. It'll tell you, you can't write a spacebar in this document. So if you want a spacebar, put something there. And it'll tell you what you can use.
Yeah.
Um, and a lot of the time I will use the underscore
Right.
because it's what everybody uses as a space. It's the most common.
It's the most
So I will
common,
use.
and it's
Yep.
like it's not used really. That keystroke is not used for really anything else, unless you're creating
Nope.
some kind of word form that you're going to print out, or you're going to have something like signature line or
Yeah.
something like
Yep.
that. That's pretty much the only thing it's created for. Hmm.
Signature line, crossbox, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like, there's never any real use to that. So I'm like, it's that one key that nobody uses.
Yeah.
Boom.
Yeah.
So a lot of the time I'll use that as a space, and if I don't use that, I'll use the tilde because it's
Is
another
that
one
the
of those
squiggly?
keys. Yeah, squiggly.
It's like the
Tilde.
about. It's like or
Yep.
not about like info about
Yep.
somebody, but the approximate, right?
Yep.
That's
I
the
like.
kind of thing you use for approximately 10% or whatever.
Yep. I
Yeah.
like to use it as I like to call it the fancy bulletin because it's squiggly.
It's squiggly. Yeah, that's probably one that really never gets used
Yep.
in everyone's, daily life or typing or, Word documents or anything like that probably never gets hit.
Yep.
Yeah.
But now I'm actually seeing it more.
Mm.
When people write out descriptions of something and they use
Uh-huh.
bulletins, I'm seeing that pop up more, the tilde.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's crazy because you think about it, that key's never been used, and now
Uh-uh.
somebody was like, I'm going to start a trend and started using it.
I actually used it probably a couple months ago. I was messaging somebody, and I think it was through Instagram, and we were chatting, but I was doing it through my computer instead of my phone, and I know. In fact, it was somebody asked me, and I get this question a lot, like when they're about to be on the podcast or we're setting it up or whatever, they'll
Mhm.
ask me, how long should I expect it to take or be, and I'll type it out about or around 2 hours or around an hour or whatever. But this one, I just hit that tilt key in front of the minutes or hour, and I was like, oh wait, I don't know if they're gonna know what that means, but anyway, yeah. So
Yeah,
it's
it's
funny,
kind of funny to think about it too, because not a lot of people use it correctly either. Like,
right?
you you see the tilde. It's usually, like I said, it's usually used as a fancy bulletin now,
Uh-huh.
but it's like it was originally meant to shorten the word approximately
Yep.
or
Yeah.
about.
Right.
Um, you
That's
know,
funny.
so it's kind of funny to look at that, but yeah. So adding things like that into the code, I'm so grateful that the platform I'm using to try to build this app,
Yeah.
I don't have to worry about %20 or putting something in between for spaces. Like the space
Okay.
bar actually works on the app. Like you can have a
Wow.
space in your title now. So if
Wow.
there's if you have one of those double word names,
Yeah.
you can actually separate your name with a space bar instead of having like a underscore. And the way I'm setting it up too is going to be similar to Discord. You have a unique ID. So
Mm,
users can have the same name as you, but guess what? Now they know who you are because there's a specific ID. You're more than likely gonna have a different profile picture, and
so
I'm
it's
gonna add a
gonna
report
have
button.
so let's say you and I both have the same profile name or account
Yep.
name or whatever. It'll assign like a number like Discord does onto the
Yep.
back end.
Yep.
Ah,
You'll have
okay.
a number.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get that number to display. I just haven't. It's not been on my priority list yet because
Yeah.
I know it's something simple and easy for me to do.
Right.
So I'm trying to tackle the hard stuff first and then
Sure.
work back to the easy.
Yeah, it's funny when I set up this website, when I added the booking feature
Mhm.
onto my website, I added in, the Discord name, and people will type in their name but not the number. And
Right.
the reason I added it in there is not just so I could see if they joined our Discord, but to make it easier where they didn't have to join our Discord, I could just go on and add them as a friend. But if they don't put that 4-digit number on the end with
You
the
can't find them.
hashtag on it,
Yeah.
the number sign, it's not a hashtag, bro. It's a number sign. Okay.
Mhm.
They ruined the hashtag got ruined. Okay. So, but yeah, if they don't have that number on there, I can't find them. I can't add them. So I'm trying to think of a way to word that Discord name, maybe Discord name with number. Uh,
Yeah.
but then I'm thinking, well, maybe somebody's going to think phone number. I don't know. So I
what
got
I
to figure
write,
out.
what I wrote for our team application, because we have that same thing.
Okay.
You have to add the number.
Yeah.
We wrote Discord name and Discord ID, and then
Mm.
in like a subtitle, we would write an example of what it's supposed to look like.
Oh, good
So
idea.
you could
Okay.
write an example and then write like a fake ID in there,
Yeah.
and then have like number 001
Mm-hmm.
or something like that.
Gotcha.
Um, so that's what we did, and it seems to be working out because everybody who's applied to our team, they always have their name and the title, and I can find them pretty easily.
Okay.
The only issue I think I've ever found is like maybe somebody has a capital that they didn't put in.
Mm.
So like,
For Discord,
yeah, Discord's kind of picky
it's
about
case sensitive.
capitals. Yeah, it's very case sensitive.
No
So
shit.
yeah,
I
so
didn't know that.
yeah, if somebody's missing like a capital in their name, there's a chance you might not find them.
Wow.
Like mine, if you write my name, my Discord name out
Yeah.
without putting any of the spaces, it won't find me. Um, the capital M of Minty is capitalized,
Yeah.
and I think the M is also capitalized. So the other M, Minty the Merc, yeah.
Yeah.
So trying to find
That's
me is
wild.
kind of a pain
Okay.
for some people, but at least it's
Right.
one word kind of thing
Yeah.
instead of
Right.
like the weird characters. Because
Well,
I've
it's weird on Discord because there, when you create a separate channel in your server,
Mhm.
you can't have. There's no capitals. It's all
Yeah.
lowercase.
Yeah.
Um,
The one thing I can't stand about Discord's channels is I
yeah.
really wish they, when you space things out, they wouldn't have to put the hyphen in there.
They got to have something, man.
I want the hyphen removed. That's the one thing I want removed. I've been waiting for them to remove that for so long. But there's some things on Discord that I wish they would also add in. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know if you've seen role icons yet in servers, but it allows you to have like a little icon for everybody who has a
Right.
certain role, and it'll appear next to their name when they
Yeah.
talk.
We have that. Hmm.
We have it in our team as well, and it
Well,
displays
we
like
have
all
it
of our.
when they're listed. I don't know if it's when they talk on the thing. I'm not sure, but it does have it on their listing. Like everyone gets automatically assigned trifaction
Oh yeah,
role
yeah,
when you join the our thing, and it gives you a little. I can't remember what color it is. A little diamond shaped thing
mm,
or whatever.
yeah.
And then
Like
founders, they created one for founders, and I didn't create it. These guys, I
right,
was, yeah.
yeah. Like I know your server has to be like boosted to level 2 or something like that.
That's
Um,
what it is. Okay,
or else it'll like, go away. Like on our
gotcha.
server, we have it boosted past 2. We're working on 3 right now because at
Okay,
3 you can have like custom domain. Um,
nice.
so yeah, having those little icons is kind of cool to
Okay,
see. But like
yeah.
that's almost what I'm trying to develop on Snapsoft is having like those little icons, but they'll
Mm,
appear under your name instead of next to your name, and you can have
gotcha.
multiple. So they'll be like the founders, the testers, part of the original
Hmm.
test team. Um, the
That's
date,
cool.
trying to make it to where maybe there's a date one on there for like when you joined or something like that.
Right,
Um, so people when they see your post, they're like, "Wow, he's been on here since 2023, and it's
hmm
2027 now."
right.
Um, so things like that, like because on Discord, you can when you click your name, you can see how long you've actually been on Discord. Like for me, I've been on it
Yep.
since 2019 on this account.
Hmm.
So
I like that too. Xbox does that on your profile,
mhm.
where they did that years ago. Where if you look at somebody else's profile, you look at yours, it has that little box now
Yep.
that'll have the number. It doesn't or specify what it is. We just know. We'd ask, or somebody would tell you, "Oh yeah, that's how many years you've been on Xbox Live." With that
Right.
profile. Hmm.
And then going back on that unique ID, I think it's much better because now if there is people who have very similar names, for instance, like the Airsoft dads, there's like what, three of them. They can all have the same name now instead of having to try to separate with a hyphen or something like
That's
that.
going to be so confusing though for people trying to, like, if we're talking about them, right? When
Right.
I'm referencing, like, when I've had people on that know
Oh
both
yeah,
of them.
that's a good point.
Yeah.
Um, I'm also trying to get it to where their full name will appear under it, like
Mm,
basically what they type in, which would be like their actual name.
yeah.
I'm trying to get that to where it'll appear with it. So not only does their username pop up, their full name pops up, so people can actually tell, like through the
Yeah.
post, okay, this is Scott Airsoft Dad, not Mike Airsoft Dad.
Uh
Uh, um, I know my call sign's pretty unique, so I don't believe
Yes.
there's very many Minties in Airsoft.
No.
So um,
You're good. You're safe. Yeah.
yeah, I'm pretty safe for now, but
Hmm.
I don't know. We'll see after Snapsoft gets released. Somebody might
Yeah.
just have that fanboy account, and then next thing I know, I have like 17 Minties. Nobody's gonna
It'll
know who
be
the developer is.
right. Oh my God.
So I'm trying to make those profile differences, things that'll make them different, and those standout things like having those roles will help because
Hmm.
you can tell how long a user's been on. You can tell what they've done on the apps. You can tell that they've been around longer than X amount of other people who have identical names or
Yeah.
at least similar names. So it'll be a little bit better, I guess you could say, to see the changes between that
Sure.
and Instagram because I know it's definitely going to be different for anybody who's switching.
Hmm.
There's going to be an adjustment period.
Oh,
So
definitely, man.
I guess I gotta say, like anybody who is gonna move over to the app, just give it some time, get used
Yeah.
to it. Of
Have some
course,
patience.
yep, it's not gonna be stellar right from the start. It's gonna need
Hmm.
updates in the future after
Sure.
it's been dropped. And I don't want to drop it too early, of course, because if I drop it too early, I'm gonna be updating it a lot, and it's gonna feel like you're playing one of these new games now where you download it, it's got a bunch of holes in it, and
Uh-huh.
then you got to update it every week. Um, I
Well,
don't want that to happen. So,
speaking of that, are you going to have a place, or can people be like a monthly subscriber kind of thing towards Snapsoft, to where they if they want to be a part of that, where they feel like they're contributing, and they know that this is an ongoing process. I mean,
mhm,
this thing, you have to run it after you're
yep.
done. Like,
Oh
this
yeah.
this ain't doesn't run itself.
Mm-mm.
And
Oh, I'm
so
gonna be on this for a while.
and not only that, these big platforms have teams of people, like
And right
a
now,
lot of
it's
people
yep,
that handle different categories to build and run these apps and
yep,
to keep it running smoothly. And you're a one man army right now.
yep,
So, yeah, are you going to have something built into to the app that people could be like a monthly subscriber to
yep,
help kind of fund, your stuff going forward?
yep. That's what I'm looking for right now.
Good.
I'm trying to make a user-friendly platform that both works for Google Play and Apple at the same time, so
Gotcha.
people don't have to, click a link to PayPal or something like that. It'll be,
Yeah.
um, more professional. You click a link for whatever
Yeah.
platform you're on. It takes you to your payment,
Hmm.
um, and you can just subscribe that way instead of, um, oh yeah, go to this link, go to my PayPal, and type in the amount and
Right.
stuff like that. Because obviously, if you're getting something, you're going to get something out of that deal. Um,
Yeah.
I'm not a huge fan of, even with donations. I feel like when I accept something, some form of currency, I want to give something back to that person,
Sure.
because it's you took the time to earn that money, and then you've given it to me. And I want to make sure that you get something back in return, even if it's just as simple as having your logo on the site. But
Hmm.
for you guys, I actually have it to where it links to your site.
Yeah. I
Somebody
saw that
clicks.
video
Yep.
you put out.
Yep. Somebody clicks it. It will take you. It'll take them to your site.
Yeah.
So,
I appreciate that, man. Big time.
yep. And you
Yeah.
guys are part of the early supporters, so that's why I want those to be clicked.
Right.
Um, Obviously, in the future, I'm not going to be able to have a whole page of everybody's logo.
No.
So, it's only going to be like the current people now, the ones that
Hmm.
supported it before it was even a full released app,
Yeah.
um, that are going to see those kinds of things where, like, your logo's on there. It's a link that takes you to that site.
Hmm.
Um, and I got the same thing. I got one of my sponsors, Wish Tech Airsoft. He's on there.
Nice.
Um, he's been a really big supporter of the app. He's gonna put it out on his streams and things like that. That way, there's more traction moving forward, with getting people on the app, and
Yeah.
hopefully make it a lot smoother for people coming in, because that's what I'm really trying to do. And I'm going in and I'm logging into apps like Instagram. I'll log out of my account to go see what the starting screen looked like,
Yeah.
so I can make that just user friendly in itself when you log in. And right
Hmm.
now, I think that's working really well, because when you log in, you've put in all your information like you would for anything else. Um, right now, I have it where you don't have to go to your email to verify, because I am not one of those people. I can't stand that.
How
I'd rather
dare you?
verify. I'd rather verify with my phone number than verify with my email.
Oh yeah. I hear you.
So, because at least like with Apple, when you verify with your phone number, it'll send that text message to you. But Apple's got it to where you don't have to go to that message to look up the
No.
code. It'll just autofill it.
That's how mine does as well. I love
Yep.
that feature.
Yep.
Yes.
And I love that feature more than, oh, I gotta go to my email. Oh wait, I have to log into
I
my email.
100% agree. Yes. I think everyone will. This is the next level of streamlining is just use the phone number. It's way
Yep.
easier.
And everybody's gonna have one. It's a mobile app. You have to have a phone number to be on a phone.
Exactly. Yes.
So,
That's good.
um, I want to streamline it to that. So right now, there is no verification for that email, but there will be, and I'm going to try to make it be the phone number,
Yeah.
because I don't want to have to have people have to go verify through an email code or something like that.
Right.
Um, and that's maybe part of me just not wanting to have to go to my email when I want to verify. So,
Hmm.
because as we've already found out, I don't like email. um,
Exactly. Oh,
so
that's funny.
that's been one of the things being worked on. You get into the app, you'll see the home screen right
Yeah.
from the start when you log in. I've recently, on this upcoming update, I took the menu off of that top right corner that it's been in the last few updates.
Mm.
Didn't want it there anymore, because I felt I was doing it, and I realized none of my testers have brought this up to me, which probably means they're okay with where it's at.
Yeah.
But I'm looking at the features as, okay, that doesn't work. They're testing that. They're finding things that don't work.
Right.
I'm more or less going into the app when I log in to find out, does this feel comfortable?
Mm.
Like when I log into the app, do I have to move my hand to the top of the screen if I want to click that button?
Yeah.
Because that doesn't sound like it's such a big deal. Like it's almost unnoticeable. But after a lot of time, you're like, I don't like where this is. I don't like where that is.
Right.
And it's like, I shouldn't have to click to the top of the screen when I could just click something on the bottom where my hand already is.
Yeah.
Um, and that's what we do. I actually removed that top logo, and on the Explore button, when you click it, that modal pops up instead, and it's
Okay.
basically a new menu. And
Hmm.
then when you click the Snapsoft logo instead, you'll get all the tools, like if you want to log out, or you want to get support for the app or something like that. It's all hidden up there. I mean, it's not
Yeah.
hidden, but I'm not trying to hide it.
Right.
um, but it's all up there. And then I replaced that menu option that was there originally with the chat box or
Okay.
the chat room, so it links to your chat rooms instead.
Mm.
So it's faster access to your chat room instead of having to go, oh, I got to go to this user's profile to click on it. Or originally it was in the menu. You would click on the menu and it would be in there. But I was like, I'm going to end up filling up this menu with all these links to all these places
Yeah.
when it could just be, what do you want to explore? And that's where that showed up. That
Yeah.
what do you want to explore? And it takes you to all those places now.
Mm.
So just things like that. I changed something that just didn't feel comfortable in my hand when I'm holding my phone. I can't click all the way up at the top of the screen
Right.
when I could just click the bottom of the screen where my hand already is. So, and I expect that most people who are posting are likely going to be just like everybody else. We're probably sitting on the toilet. So we're probably one hand in that thing.
Exactly. Oh
So
yeah.
we want that one hand to feel comfortable when we're, moving the app. It should be able to be controlled with one hand.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, that's a good point because when you're holding your phone and your thumb only reaches so far, especially the bigger phones, like the Ultra, the
Oh yeah.
S22 Ultra or whatever. Those are a lot bigger than the regular versions, and for one-handed use, yeah, it would be nice to have things at the bottom. I know for you don't want to interfere with the scrolling feature, because I've been on a couple apps where they were professional. I'm trying to think of what it was, but one of those
Mhm.
chat with us kind of box, or a little circle will pop up, and it'll kind of pulse a little bit to show you, hey, if you need to talk to somebody, about this, like support us page, like, or support, like where you need technical support on something, that little chat thing or icon will be at the bottom right where you're trying to scroll. And I've hit it where,
Mm.
I'm trying to scroll through down on this page and I'm hitting this thing like, bro, can you move that to the fucking left, please?
Right. That's actually gave me a good idea too.
Okay.
I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do it. I think this would be like way down the road, but
Yeah.
something where there's an option to switch it to left hand and right hand mode.
Mm.
I've seen that on only like a few apps, but I'm
Oh,
thinking
okay.
about it because as we're talking about this one handing thing, I'm realizing, that would be a great implementation for people who, use the app in a different hand.
Right.
And not to
That's
mention,
true.
some people do have disabilities where they can't use one of those
Uh-huh.
hands. So, um, it would be great if you could use the app on different hands. So,
Right. Swap them, like switch it around. Yeah.
yep.
Very
And then
cool.
it would, only affect you.
Right.
Switch to the left hand mode.
Personalize it. Mm-hmm.
Yep,
It's
everything's
like
left handed for you.
the colorblind feature when they came out with that in these video games.
Hmm.
The colorblind, you can turn it on or off, whatever. And for people that are colorblind
Yep.
for certain colors, yeah, dude, that's cool. That would be a great feature to put in there. Mm-hmm.
Right. And then I'm also noticing going on that colorblind issue in gaming. Um, I think it's kind of funny because now some people are abusing that. Like they'll change the colors of the game so they can see people faster.
Yep.
I'm like, oh, come on. That's not what that's for.
I
That's
mean,
not
they
what
put
that's
it
for.
in there. You can
Right.
use it.
Right. It's
Oh
like,
yeah.
that's not what that's for.
Well, dude, back in the day when we were playing Rainbow Six,
Hmm.
the original Rainbow Six, and then when Vegas came out,
Hmm.
um, we would put for like Terrorist Hunt, the hardcore mode on Terrorist Hunt. People would put a piece of painter's tape or
Oh, I've
masking
seen
tape
that. Yeah, you
on
put
their
it on the
monitors or on
screen.
their screens. Mm-hmm.
And
And
that,
that's where you kept, pretty much you would keep your reticle there. And yeah, it was kind of like a guide to zero in on. And that's where this bad guy's head's going to be every time.
right. Yeah, it's stuff like that. It's like, I remember back when I first started playing like 360, I was seeing like these things, somebody was trying to make a business out of it. They had those little red dot things you stick to your screen, and
Uh-huh.
it's going to be right where you want it to be because it's fitting for your screen.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, come on. You got extra
I
stuff.
mean, you know, people are that was the yeah, that was definitely one that would that started out with pieces of tape on the screen. So, yep.
So yeah. Sorry, my dad walked in.
Oh, that's cool.
uh, um,
But yeah, man. So you got a lot going on. You've got
yeah.
this app that's going to be coming out. Snapsoft is like I said, when I first saw the first reel you put up about it, I was super excited about it. I definitely I know it's going to be a huge hit in the airsoft community. Um, so I'm really looking forward to it, man. Big time.
Oh yeah, me too.
Yeah. Well,
And like I said, to get that when's it coming out thing to stop.
oh, for sure. For sure. I mean, that's going to be, you're probably always going to have something like that because
Right.
as soon as it's released, if if somebody runs into an issue, oh, when's this going to be fixed? When's this going
Yep.
to be fixed? When's
Yep.
this going to be fixed?
That's what'll change too. When's this going to be fixed? Oh, great. When's this
Yeah.
feature coming out?
When's this
Oh,
feature
great.
coming out? When's this feature coming out? What if I'm already existing user? You know that commercial they were playing, with, I think it's is it Progress or AT&T, I think.
Mhm.
The wireless, AT&T wireless. They're the girls standing in the front, at the kiosk when they walk in the front door, and the guy's over here with this sign that's like on wheels, and he's turning it around. Like it says one thing on the front and one thing on the back. Well, what if I'm an existing customer? And then he has to turn around so they see
Oh,
the
yeah.
sign, the
I
billboard
know which
thing.
one you're talking about now.
And then
Yeah.
somebody else walks in the door. What if I'm a new customer? And then he turns it back around, and it's like, oh, what if I'm an existing? It's like back and forth, back and forth, back and forth.
Yep.
You're gonna have that, bro. You're gonna
Yep.
have that. Okay. You should have
And
one of those a little meme or something that pops up when somebody asks one of those questions, and it does the turn in the sign thing. Like, it's funny.
like,
Well,
I'm
man,
excited for that.
it's been great talking with you, dude.
Oh
I
yeah.
appreciate your time.
Yep.
Appreciate you what you're doing with the Snapsoft app, and looking forward to working with you in the future on that, because one thing that obviously your app is going to be doing is connecting the airsoft community without barriers, without fear of being canceled or denied a post and all this shit. Okay. When it's airsoft related.
Yep.
And then I'm doing the same thing on this podcast, is connecting people
Oh yeah.
through that, worldwide. So definitely looking forward to jumping on there and testing it out, and sending you multiple questions on your email that you have to look at your email.
Not the email.
Oh yeah. So, but man, I appreciate your time. Tell everybody where they can find all your info and about the Snapsoft thing, if they want to donate, if they want to get on board with that, if they want to find out about you and what you got going on.
Yep. Well, I'm going to say I appreciate you having me on. So you can find me on Instagram as airsoft_Minty. Yeah, I have to use that underscore. See, I want to get rid of that. And then you can also find my team and my info under www.whitehorsemilsim.com. I'm in there. We accept guests on our team's page. We have plenty of them in there. They like to talk. We all talk in there. We even play games with our guests. So
Nice.
Love to have more people in there, or even more people on the team, because we do travel, and you get to hang out with me. Woohoo! You might even get a bunch of mints, because I have an addiction to those.
Oh shit!
So that's where the name started.
The name.
Yep.
Okay.
You'll find a bunch of Lifesavers mints probably falling out of my gear. There's probably more Lifesavers mints than PBs falling out of my gear.
Oh shit!
And it's funny because the BB fits right in the center of those lifesaver vents.
Oh, that's wild.
I found out. So
It's funny that you tried it.
yeah, I was curious. I was like, I wonder, can a BB go through this? Nope, it sits right in the middle.
Oh shit. Oh,
I'm
yeah.
like, that's cool. So
Well, listen, man. Yeah, like I said, it's and then where can people kind of hit you up for donating to your
um,
app?
so in my bio on Instagram, I have a link tree. That will have a the um support Snapsoft right at the front of it.
Yeah.
Like the moment you open it up, it'll be there.
Right.
And then following that, that's where all the links to everything is for like joining the team. Or I even have sponsorships, so there's affiliate links in there where you can,
Awesome.
make your trip over to any of those a little bit cheaper on your order.
Yeah.
Because everybody likes to save a little bit of money.
Sure.
So
Awesome,
yeah.
man. Well, speaking of the sponsor thing, I'll put this out there too. This is something new I'm adding to my website and the podcast is the ability to sponsor a podcast. So, one episode or whatever. I'm adding that to our website this week, where somebody could go on there and get featured. So if they can sponsor one podcast, one episode or whatever for a small fee, and then I'll give them a shout out, and then that kind of thing, and this podcast is sponsored by blank, that kind of
Oh
thing.
yeah.
So that's something new that's coming out this week that I'm pretty excited about. So give people an opportunity to do that. Actually, it came up because one of the guys I talked with, Hefe Airsoft, has his own store and stuff. He asked me if I wanted to be sponsored or if I was looking for sponsorships, with anybody, and I didn't want. I never really looked into being sponsored by, or having sponsors because I'm not an airsoft player. I don't really
Right.
need gear or equipment or anything like that, like, or BBs or whatever. So I thought, I don't really know what I could do for them, and now I'm like, well, wait a minute, I could talk about them, on a podcast, get their name out there for X amount of episodes or whatever. So anyway, that's kind of where it came up with that. So stay tuned, everybody. That'll be coming out very soon. So by the time this comes out, actually.
That's great. Yeah, you'll probably see snapshot. That's not it. Snapsoft.
I almost said that too because there is
Yeah.
a snapshot thing or whatever.
Yeah. I
And,
wanted to call it that, but there's so many things named Snapshot, and I'm like, darn it, none of them are even airsoft related.
They're not. No, it's like pictures and photographs and.
Like
Yep.
Progressive has Snapshot. I know that because
Right.
I'm under Progressive insurance. So
So am I.
yeah. So I'm like, Progressive has Snapshot. Great. So that's already a
And they
taken
fucked
thing.
me, dude. They can fuck off with that Snapchat thing. I did that thing for like what is it, like 2 months or something? And you know what they
Right.
got me for? Was
What?
hard braking.
Oh,
And
no.
you can go in there and see the analytics, like where and when. And I'm going, what the fuck? I was like, I didn't even stop that fast. Like
Right.
hard braking should be like you almost hit somebody, you had to slam on your brakes.
Yeah.
Anyway, I haven't been in an accident in fucking forever. Okay, since like 95 or something, 98 or something.
Can't say the same. I accidentally backed into a car last year on my
shit.
birthday.
Oh Jesus! You were drinking. That's okay.
No. I was off-roading.
Oh God.
It was a tight parking spot, and I had deflated tires, so turning was not a great idea.
Oh, yep.
And yeah, I just lightly tapped their front bumper.
Oh, that's okay.
It was enough for them to report it on their insurance, which sucked.
Jesus.
Yeah, I know, and that's the funny part. It was only a small dent, like I mean, really small, almost not noticeable.
That's
still
one of the things
did it.
I like about having an old car, like my Jeep,
right.
Bro. Because I go to construction sites.
Yeah, you get it scratched up. Yeah.
Yeah, bro. Somebody, we're all crammed into in these spots. Somebody bumps it or something. Oh well.
Right. Like my car, like it's pretty much the same way, but I know that it's extremely beefy. Like Like I've been in an accident with it before, like harder hit.
Yeah.
And I've seen what that thing did when it had plastic bumpers to another car.
Right.
I got we ended up T-boning, and the Jeep pushed the fender of their car almost all the way into the engine. I was only going 15.
Jesus.
Um, my plastic bumper, I think, only suffered a small dent, and that was it. It was just the plastic bumper that suffered anything. And then I broke one of the little indicator lights on the side of the car. Decided to just randomly explode.
Oh, nice.
That was about it. I was like, wow, $15 in damage, and
Oh my God.
I was already getting rid of that bumper. And what's funny is we ended up selling that bumper for $15.
Holy shit.
So I was like, it just paid off that whole accident.
Oh, that's wild.
It was like, all right, that's a win.
Well, listen, man, I appreciate your time. Thank you so much for being on. And this will actually come out Wednesday of this week. So
All right, sounds
I'm
great.
looking forward to it. All right, brother. I appreciate you, man. You have a good day.
You too.